Steve Kane Show.
No doctor's order or prescription necessary. In and out in 15 minutes or less. And
we'll be on the air in just a couple of minutes. Welcome to the show, everyone.
In Coral Springs, you are putting your health care in your own hands. You are in control. They have every test you need, whether it's a blood test, urine test, drug test, STD test, or any other lab test. Any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs have you covered. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Santa Fe
Welcome everyone. Subscribe if you're not subscribed.
And Hillsboro on the east side of State Road 7. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Call any lab test now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm Brian Craig. This is the longest running radio show in Florida, the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere, and we're live from 6 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern Time.
And 3 custom inserts.
A whole bunch of radio stations.
Today, 954-597-7060.
You're stuck in your home, and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening.
Oh boy! Hey Dan.
In early evenings, your air conditioner is running more and
How you
more.
been?
It may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature that you have it set on. And in some homes, it can't even keep up, losing the battle. And the temperature in your house climbs, and you're hot, humid, and uncomfortable. And to top it all off, your electric bill is about to double.
Here we
Here comes
go.
summer. The cure is reflective and/or blown insulation. Stop the heat gain and cut your electric bill up to 35% off. Act now and get the pandemic special, our off-season sale. Act now. Save 50% on reflective and/or blown insulation and cut your electric bill up to 35%. Call Scott from cutmykilowatts.com.
I think I need to move. I'm too far to the left in the studio. I'll do it during the break.
954-939-1500. Cutmykilowatts.com. Put your house in the shade today.
The Steve
Here we go.
Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans. You may
Reinstate the W. Yeah, I've been debating on what to put on the wall. That's why I haven't done anything. I have a Trump flag, but I would have to take it down after the show every day. So I think I'm going to bring in my Trump flag tomorrow. Have that behind me. What do you guys think? Probably have to move that picture down.
821-855-FLA-3782.
Good morning.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. We are live here in the mornings from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome. Watch us live stream on YouTube, Brian Craig on YouTube. You know, since we moved to the new studio, I haven't finished decorating the walls in here. And the wall behind me, I was debating on what to put behind me for quite some time. I think I'll bring my Trump flag in tomorrow and have that on the wall behind me, my Trump Make America Great Again flag, and have that behind me during the live stream. How would that be? I think that's a good idea. Welcome. So much happening, so much going on. Did you guys catch this interview? I would call it more of a debate than an interview between the president and Chris Wallace, who's such a smug person. You know, the thing about, we'll play some of the audio from the interview as the show goes on. But I think a lot of you, like me, are upset at the unfairness of that interview yesterday. I mean, that interview was really disgusting for a lot of reasons. And, you know, I don't like Chris Wallace at all. He's very smug, very snarky, thinks he's better than Trump, was very condescending and all that. The thing I mind about it, what bothers me about it, is that type of interview is so one-sided. If these journalists talk to Democrats like they talk to Trump, I'd be very happy. If it was fair. They go to Donald Trump and they, there's Dad, you're responsible. What'd you do? They go to Biden. What is your favorite color? Oprah questions. What is it like being you, Vice President Biden? You know what I mean? That may be a little extreme, but you get my drift. And that's what is so upsetting to me about these interviews. It's so one-sided. It's amazing Republicans ever win an election. This isn't unique to President Trump. It's worse for Trump, I guess, but all Republicans are treated like Trump has been treated so far as journalists because they're all Democrats. They're all Democrats. So we'll get to that interview. Your thoughts are certainly welcome on that at 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631, a toll-free call from anywhere. I just glanced at Breitbart before I went on the air. Oh my gosh, I didn't see this story when I was doing my morning news reading. I just saw this. Breitbart claim ancestors of New York Times family included slave owners and Confederate supporters. I'll read through this story because this one's got to be good. All this cancel culture that's going on because things have connections to the Confederacy or to slavery. They're so concerned about things that ended in 1865 that they don't see what's going on in front of them today. And it's pretty crazy stuff. But the Democrats are the ones that are out there holding people accountable for things that their great-great-granddaddies did. But it seems to me, when it really gets down to it, it seems to be Democrats, it seems to be liberals that are always getting jammed up in all this cancel culture stuff because they have set a standard that is impossible for anyone to meet in this society. So they keep getting themselves jammed up in it, and they want to cancel out like this nonsense that went on when the president went to Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. And I really appreciate him doing that because I could never remember if Mount Rushmore was in North Dakota or South Dakota, but the media was whining so much about it. Now I know, and we'll never forget, that Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota. And they're saying, well, this monument of former slave owners, known as our, two of our great presidents, that there would be no America if it were not for them. When they stood in front of Mount Rushmore and they called George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, as opposed to great men and presidents and all of this, call them slave owners. This is the oldest democracy in the world, and this democracy would not have existed if it were not for Washington and Jefferson. And the democracies around the world would not exist if it were not for Washington and Jefferson. But anyway, they spent all this time talking about it's on stolen Indian land. And then Don Jr. and others started saying, well, Manhattan was stolen from the Indians too for, what was it, $12 in beads or something? And they've set this standard up that you just can't meet in America, and they keep getting themselves jammed up in it. So new research shows that the New York Times, and Don Jr. was pointing out, well, wait a minute, the New York Times is located in Manhattan. That's stolen Indian land too. Michael Goodwin of the New York Post, Michael Goodwin's a good guy. He's a good guy. Michael Goodwin of the New York Post published an extensive investigative article on Sunday claiming that ancestral members of the family that owns the New York Times likely included slave owners. Moreover, Goodwin recounted the extended family also included members who fought for the Confederate States of America, contributed to Confederate memorials after the Civil War, and perhaps even engaged in the slave trade. Uh-oh! The claims cast the Times' effort to condemn America for the sins of slavery in an ironic light. Goodwin explains this. How do you pronounce the name O-C-H-S? Let me see here. Let me look it up online. Let me type it in. Is it Oaks? Let me type it in on. You can do everything on the. I'm just gonna do it live on the air. Hold on. Let me pull it up on the YouTube, and so I don't get it. There's somebody named. Okay, here we go.
Pronouncenames.com.
Here we go. Here we go.
Phil Ox.
Ox. Okay. OCH is ox. Okay, I was gonna say oaks, but they say it's ox here. Okay. Pronouncenames.com says ox. Okay, this is what Goodwin found out. Listen to this. Last Sunday, Goodwin writes, I recounted that Bertha Levy Ox, the mother of New York Times patriarch Adolph S. Ox, supported the South and slavery. Now again, this is the mother of the patriarch of the New York Times. She was caught smuggling medicine to Confederates in a baby carriage, and her brother Oscar joined the rebel army. Oh my goodness. New York Times. Confederates in the Attic. Remember that book? I have since learned, Goodwin continues, according to a family history, Oscar Levy fought alongside 2 Mississippi cousins, meaning at least 3 members of Bertha Ox family fought for secession. Ox reportedly made contributions to rebel memorials, including $1,000 to the enormous Stone Mountain Memorial in Georgia that celebrates Jefferson Davis, Robert E. Lee, and General Stonewall Jackson. He made the donation in 1924. $1,000 in 1924, that's a lot of money. Who died 16 years earlier could be on the founder's roll, adding in a letter that Robert E. Lee was her idol. Oh my goodness. New York Times. I have found compelling evidence. This is Goodwin continued in his New York Post research. This was published yesterday, the New York Post. Goodwin went on. I have found compelling evidence that Uncle Bertha Levy Ox lived with for several years in Natchez, Mississippi before the Civil War and owned at least, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, owned at least 5 slaves. He was her father's brother. His name was John Mayer because he dropped the surname Levy, according to a family tree compiled by the Ox-Sulzberger clan some 70 years ago. Separately, there is also compelling evidence that the brother of a Revolutionary War-era ancestor of the branch of the family was involved in the slave trade. Oh my goodness, this is the New York Times founding family. Oh. The New York Times has gained notoriety in recent months, Breitbart writes, for the 1619 Project, an effort to rewrite American history by viewing the true origin of the United States as the arrival of the first slave in 1619 and not with the Declaration of Independence. I love how they want to declare America, 150 years before so that they can do that. Oh my goodness. See, now, I would not hold the New York Times or any of them responsible for any of this stuff. But they're the ones that have set up this standard that anyone whose family line has... Now, my family has no connection to any of this nonsense. My family was in the Union Army, I want you all to know. There were no slave owners in my family, I promise you that. But anyway, you can do all the searching you want to do. They've set up this standard to cancel out people with such connections, and they're the ones that have all the connections. See, this goes into what I've been telling you for quite some time, that the taking down of memorials and wanting to rename everything, in large part, mostly, in the long term, are liberals, are Democrats trying to wipe out the racist history of the Democrat Party. They look at themselves, we're losing the black vote. How are we losing the black vote? Why are we losing the black vote? What has happened that's caused us to lose the black vote? And they see, well, we've got, all the, the segregation, Jim Crow, the lynching, the slavery, the Confederacy. Let's send BLM out. Let's take down all the references to this. And in another generation, they won't know that it was us, the Democrats. That's what's going on here, people. They're canceling out their own racist history. Oh man, that's a great article in Breitbart. I did put that on the Twitter. All right, let's take our first break of the week. It's Monday morning, the 20th of July. 16 minutes after 6 o'clock in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. That's right, on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. What should happen? Is BLM going to be out in front of the New York Times? I don't know. This is news to me. This is news to me, people. But I guess they were a Democrat paper even way back then. All right, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be back.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt really soft in the store, but when you go to use it, it's not very absorbent? It's basically a towel that's leaving you out to dry. Mike Lindell, Trump supporter and inventor of MyPillow, has developed a towel that actually works.
Hey, if you're new here, subscribe.
MyPillow
All
is
right?
debuting the MyPillow 6-piece towel set.
And click the notification bell. This is the most pro Donald Trump radio show in the world. If you like Trump, you're going to love this show. If you don't like Trump, you will probably be converted to a Trump supporter after listening for a while.
Products come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get the buy one, get one free on the 6-piece set off MyPillow towels, just go to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special, and enter the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout.
Steve Kane Show.
Directly, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. That's MyPillow.com, promo code KANE. Kane.
Be right back.
This is Steve Kane. I'm here chatting with Dr. Troy Lemaski, my personal chiropractor. Dr. Troy, how are you today?
Doing well, Steve.
Chiropractic is an art. All the nerves in your body go through your spine. If your spine's out of line, the nerves get pinched, and of course you're going to have all kinds of symptoms and all kinds of pain as a result of that. And until you get that spine realigned, you're going to be in pain.
100% correct. If you have a joint, especially in your back, that's stuck, that's not moving properly, it will put pressure not only possibly on nerves, but more of the time on soft tissue structures such as the ligaments, the muscles, and it will create pressure. There are nerves within the joint called mechanoreceptors, and they will affect the actual nerves that are in the joint. Pinched nerves are very common, and they do come from spinal misalignment, but not everybody that has a problem has a pinched nerve.
I've been seeing you for a relatively short
That's
period
right.
of time.
The liberal
and
double standard.
you have
That's
the
right.
touch, I'll tell you that. When I walk out of your office, it's I feel like a whole new person. I know you take great care of everybody, but I know you're going to go that extra mile for our wonderful Steve Kane listeners. Doctor, give them the number of the office where they can make an appointment.
It's Coast Chiropractic Injury and Wellness Center, and the phone number is 954-463-3036. 954-463-3036. We're located in East Fort Lauderdale. We're just one block east of US 1 and Oakland Park Boulevard, right off Middle River Drive.
Oh, I forgot to move. I got to move. I'm too far to the left on the control board. I got to move everything down here. Yeah, I'll try to do it during the next break.
Today.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
Oh man, hey guys, welcome back. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Yeah, coming up, I'll play some of the audio from that Chris Wallace interview with President Trump. Isn't he the most despicable person on Fox News Channel, Chris Wallace? He's not my least favorite person in the cable news, but I think if it were not for Neil Cavuto, I would dislike Chris Wallace the most over at Fox News. But I cannot stand Neil Cavuto, so that's just a little thing. All right, let's go to the phones. First call of the week. Richie, the bus driver.
Yes, good morning. I listened to your opening monologue, so I don't want to change your...
Yeah, but you will, as you always do. That's okay. We're free-flowing today, Richie. We're free-flowing.
Thank you. Here's the deal. I disagree with you that they're trying to wipe out their history, their past. What I see here is a young generation who think they're morally superior to you, to me, because the history is the past thinking of people in the past. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, you're talking about the college-age generation of today think that they are the only good people that have ever lived in America, that everyone prior to them was just a despicable human.
They're tolerant to gay people, they're tolerant to people born with two...
Yeah, but how are they doing with the white heterosexual male?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
But But the bottom line is that they think they're superior to everybody else, and they're wiping out the history of everything.
Well, they think that they're the only moral people that have ever lived in America. This group that have never done anything with their life and have spent the last 16 months or the last 6 months living in their, not leaving their house. You know.
So they pass judgment on everybody. I called because you're a historian.
Oh, here we go. He's setting me up, people.
Now I'm going to get the information out of you, which
I know.
I'm
a historian now. I'm a historian.
John Lewis, okay? And I
yes.
talk about how I'm sorry that he passed away. He was a great civil rights advocate. He risked his own life. He literally got arrested 40 times. He risked his own life by having his skull cracked open trying to cross the bridge in Alabama.
That's right, Selma. And a Democrat did that to John Lewis. He was hit in the head by a Democrat.
Right, by Southern Democrats who beat that.
Well, no, not a Southern Democrat, a Democrat. They like to act as if there were some good Democrats somewhere. That's why they say Southern Democrat. It was a Democrat that clocked John Lewis in the head in Selma.
And then I think that hit in the head changed his whole life, along with the almighty dollar. Okay, here's a man who sat in Congress and his net worth is between $1 and $5 million and never had a freaking job. His constituents, he actually is a race trader because what he actually did was he supports Planned Parenthood with the racist Margaret Sanger.
Yeah.
Who started this to extinguish.
Okay. Now I was going to talk about John Lewis later in the show, but I'll bring it up now since you brought it up, Richie. I met John Lewis once. We had him on the radio when Steve and I were on 940 Wins, that's a long time ago. But we had him in studio, and he came in. This was off the air, and I went up and I shook hands with him, and I was proud to meet him. And John Lewis was much different in person than he was, as a pundit on television, and what he later became. But I was honored to meet him, and I told him when I shook his hand, I said, this is as close as I will have ever been to Martin Luther King, because he was mentored by Martin Luther King, who brought him to work for him when he was 16 years old. And John Lewis was a great man. Now, what happened to John Lewis in his later life is, I wouldn't say that he was corrupt. I would say John Lewis, and I'll give you a very specific example from 2010 with John Lewis to back up what I'm saying. John Lewis was a great man, and if it were not for John Lewis and others like him, the Democrats would have won the civil rights battle, and segregation would not have ended when it did, and everything that goes along with it. But what happened with John Lewis is that he never wanted to give up the fight. As he grew older, he was dealing with arrested development. And the high point of his life was the civil rights movement. And his mind took him back to that era, and he still thought we were there. And he did something, this is 10 years ago, when Obamacare was being debated, and it was really a sad thing. And this is one of the last things that Andrew Breitbart personally was involved in before they assassinated Andrew Breitbart. And here's what happened. John Lewis and the Congressional Black Caucus, on the day that Obamacare was being voted on in the House of Representatives, did something they don't normally do. They walked through the tourist entrance of the Capitol building instead of the underground subway, to go through the crowd of protesters. And John Lewis swore up and down that he was being called the N-word by the protesters, the Republican protesters out in front of the Capitol building. Do you remember this? Andrew Breitbart came out and said that he would give $250,000 is what pops in my mind. Andrew Breitbart offered $250,000 to anyone who could produce any audio or video, either one, of the N-word being yelled at the Black Caucus as they walked in, and no one came to claim that prize, even though there were television cameras and cell phones and video cameras all over the place recording the incident. And I talked about, there was a lot of talk from conservatives at the time that John Lewis was lying, and I don't think he was lying. I think he thought he heard it. I think at that point he was dealing with such a level of dementia and things in his mind, and the arrested development from the glory days with Martin Luther King, that he actually thought that he heard it. I think he imagined it and hallucinated it.
No, I think it's his narrative, and I think that I believe that you're giving him much the benefit of the doubt because of his reputation in the back. I believe that he changed the course of history, but I believe him, the whole Black Caucus, and a lot of the clergy in the black neighborhoods have contributed. You
guys can hear Richie all right, can't you? I'm making some changes so you guys can hear the callers better.
They've fattened their wallets, all of them.
All right, let me ask you this, Richie. When the announcement I saw over the weekend that John Lewis had passed away, I said to myself two things. I said, one, they're not going to invite Trump to the funeral and use this to bash Trump. And second, Richie's going to call me Monday morning and tell me what a bad man John Lewis was. I knew. So, okay, okay. You will never. Let me ask you this question. Let me throw this out to you because this is a good point. This just popped in my mind. You're not going to ever get me to say a negative word about John Lewis. I think he's a great man. What you're doing to John Lewis is very similar to what the left do to Washington and Jefferson. Washington and Jefferson did many great things. Okay. Many great things that resulted in there being democracy throughout the world. But they were not great guys morally in some aspects, not just because they owned slaves. They were not, and George Washington in particular was not all that kind to his slaves. So what you're doing with John Lewis is a lot of what the leftists and the cancel culture do to our great founding fathers. They focus in on the negatives and ignore the greatness and say they were creeps, like you're doing with John Lewis.
Well, his early years were great years. There's two John Lewises. Most of his life,
Well, wait a minute. There's two Jeffersons in Washington, right? There's the great founding fathers who gave us this country and democracy throughout the world, and then there's the slave owners, and they were having sex with the slaves and everything, which is a rape. So, and John Lewis, doesn't his greatness trump his negative contributions?
Yes, it does, because he risked his life. That's clear. But let me ask you, do you think that the John Lewis and the Black Caucus and the clergy in the neighborhoods of Chicago and everywhere else, okay, the role models that are there that have supported Planned Parenthood have been against schools, only from...
I'm not going to focus on... John Lewis wasn't just a freedom rider. He was one of the original, 4 or 5 of them. And, right now it's in vogue. BLM, we're out here. When John Lewis was out there, okay, if they would have killed John Lewis, nothing would have been done about it. You understand what I mean? He was really risking his life going up against these Democrats back in those days. I mean, he's an American hero, John Lewis.
But he turned, and Martin Luther King would have said, "You're a traitor." I'm going to tell you right up front.
We don't know, because if you look at the civil rights people that lasted, they all kind of got corrupted later on. But, yeah.
They got corrupted, and now has the black communities of this country benefited by these people switching to the Democratic Party? That's the question I ask you. In other words...
Well, I will say, now we do know about that Martin Luther King was a Republican until some things happened later on. John Lewis was 16 years old and when he joined Martin Luther King, and I don't even know if he was old enough to vote during Selma. I'd have to check the dates and everything. So I don't know if he ever was a Republican, John Lewis, although he was in league with... He was, because he wasn't old enough. You know what I mean? And I don't know, you might have had to be 21 to vote back in those days. I'd have to look into that. So unlike Martin Luther King, he may never have been a Republican. But no, what you're doing to John Lewis is what the left do to Washington and Jefferson. I'm going to stick with that.
I'm asking you a question. Has his policies helped black people in this country over the last, say, since 1965?
Oh, yeah. I would say, yeah. He was only in Congress... Didn't he go to Congress in the 80s? I would say prior to him going to Congress, he was a great man who did great things, and then a lot of things that he did in Congress, probably not.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the Black Caucus?
Oh no, they're not good. They're not good. I mean,
And this is the problem we got today, along with the culture that we have in the streets. The young kids that are morally superior to you, me, and everybody in the past.
Yeah.
And John Lewis personally, I just think that what he did to the black community after he could have done a lot better.
I think he did fine for the black community. You'll never get a negative word about John Lewis from me. Telling you that right now, out the box. All right, hey, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
This is Steve Kane for Attorney Barry Siegel. Barry
Good morning,
did a great
everyone.
job for me and my family when we needed
Subscribe
a
if you're not
living
subscribed.
trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
Made some changes so you'll be able to hear the callers better.
The most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you got.
I forgot to move everything again.
Barry's office because I had a question.
Let me see if I can do it. Watch out, guys. I'm going to move everything.
I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information from my
I got to move down a little bit. Hold on. Hold on, I'll move everything back. I'll get the camera set. I'm moving everything down. I'm too far to the left on the control board.
Very patient. I was quite a while with him, and talking about a lot of things, and this and that. But I want to say, character.
There we are. That's a little better. I can reach better. I was too far away from all the controls.
I've dealt with a lot of them. They all have.
Good morning, everyone.
You can trust them, and you're getting in fair shape.
The audio's much better? Wow, that's great.
Right now, toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782.
Steve's got a huge bedroom. He's got a bathtub about the size of a swimming connect with us. And I've also done some upgrades on the YouTube live stream, okay? And visual upgrades, sound upgrades, and things so you guys can hear the callers better and things. So we're doing a lot of stuff here, and I think you guys will enjoy everything. Well, you're comparing John Lewis to a fictional character? I'm a little confused.
I'm comparing John Lewis to anybody that starts.
We're back now.
And ends up corrupt.
Okay, listen. No. Listen. What I told Richie, I think is a pretty good analogy. Okay, John Lewis probably his pretty much entire time in Congress, which began really in the 80s and beyond. We didn't like him for a lot of good reasons. What's the difference between that and what the liberals do to Washington and Jefferson? They ignore all the good they did and focus in on the slaves, Sally Hemings, and all of these things. Well, good. Explain it to me.
Well, I'm going to. In the 1700s, slavery wasn't the sin that it is today. It was accepted. It was normal to own a human being back then. Unfortunately. No. Slow down. No. That's not what I mean. When it comes to the what the Democrats do to our founding fathers,
they only focus in on the negative, and they believe that the negative cancels out the good. And I'm telling you that John Lewis, being a freedom rider with many brave people before it was popular and in vogue, is as great as our founding fathers and what he did during the civil rights movement. I mean, he was on the front lines in some very serious situations. He is the moral equivalent to our founding fathers. When you look, okay, so why are you canceling him out?
No, I'm going to tell you. It is not the same because, like I said a minute ago, the sin of slavery was not a terrible thing back then. It was just the way things were. And owning a slave was normal back then. And that doesn't detract from the great things that Washington or Jefferson did. Now, if they started out being the great men of history that we believe them to be, and then ended up becoming immoral or corrupt, then that's what they would be remembered for. Just like the Civil War generals of the South. Robert E. Lee was a great colonel.
I don't know. I'm getting hypnotized and distracted. Don't you understand that what you're doing and what Richie is doing, so far as, okay, John Lewis is, you're doing cancel culture. You're canceling out John Lewis because you didn't like what he did in Congress with the Congressional Black Caucus. I agree. He was not good then. He did bad things then. You're canceling out his greatness. I mean, you know, he was, think about this. Martin Luther King is like Abraham Lincoln, looked at as a saintly figure in America. And he was taken under the wing, John Lewis, by Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King loved and trusted and admired and everything else John Lewis, you know, and during that era. So we have a conservative cancel culture going on right now.
Okay, then by your logic, let's erect a statue to Benedict Arnold because of all the major battles that he won under Washington, and forget that he was a traitor to this country.
No. Excuse me. He was a traitor. Benedict Arnold was his treason took place during the war while it was still going on, and I would not consider John Lewis having committed did he commit treason? Yeah, because I missed that. What did John Lewis do? I know that. Wait, hold on. Let me ask. What did John Lewis do that you would consider to be treason?
Not treason, but he is a traitor.
Well, you compared him to Benedict Arnold. Benedict Arnold actually committed treason.
Correct.
Okay, so you want to retract? You want to walk that back?
No, treason is a government word.
No, well, you made the comparison. You compared him to Benedict Arnold.
Yes, because Mr. Lewis...
Are you guys all back with me on YouTube?
And continues to be until his death.
Or should I restart it?
His support for the abortuary. How many innocent black...
Well, no, listen, I will tell you, you want to hang that on John Lewis. How much money does Planned Parenthood get every year from the federal government?
Way too much.
Yeah, and they've gotten it every year under our Republican Senate and our great president. So President Trump, hold on, President Trump and the Republican Senate are signing off on that funding. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
Well, here's what I mean. He started out great, and he ended up being just like every other corrupt Democrat politician. And that's like...
Okay, all right. So, okay, I appreciate the call. So we've got the Republican cancel culture coming out against John Lewis, wants to wipe out everything he did and cancel out John Lewis, just like the left want to cancel out Washington, Jefferson, and anybody else that's, they're trying to cancel out everyone, right? So there's a bit of a double standard there. Oh, man. All right, let's take our last break of the first hour. When we get back, there's more to share. Don't go anywhere.
We are chatting today with Frank.
How's the feet? Everything good?
Two magnificent Ace Hardware stores.
I'll be right
One,
back.
Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. How many years have you owned this business?
I've been in the hardware business for over 40 years, Steve.
If I have a home project that I'm doing, there are so many around the house, that's the big thing today. What's the difference of my experience if I go to Ace Hardware as opposed to these major impersonal chain stores?
Oh, there's a huge difference. The basic difference is customer service. We're an old-time fashion hardware store. We have experienced people that are working our stores. Our employees are just top-notch. They're very experienced. They know their business.
Everything looks back and fine to me.
You can come into the store and you can get somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that will like to work with you. They'll find you the
Make sure you
right
guys share the
product.
feed on all your
The
social
right
media if you don't mind.
So you can get in and out with the right material.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only two that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Deerfield.
Yeah, I think the video is much better. What happened was I turned the Wi-Fi on, which I don't usually use the Wi-Fi over here. I had it on the wrong internet connection.
Located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You know, all these numbers in Florida that are coming out so far as COVID-19 is making it very, very difficult to buy things that you really want, like Lysol. Do you know where you can get Lysol? Do you know where you can get all those types of hand sanitizers and everything for good prices? By the way, face mask, Lysol, all the cleaning supplies you're looking for. You know where? Deerfield Ace Hardware, Beach Ace Hardware. That's right, our two Ace Hardware locations have all those supplies, including Lysol. They stock it all that you're looking for. They don't have it at Publix. They don't have it at these other places. Believe me, I know. I go to these places. Ace Hardware does. And they have curbside pickup, by the way, if you want to do that. Deerfield Beach Ace Hardware, both of them, curbside pickup. They have all those supplies you are looking for, including Lysol, which is a big one. I go through a lot of Lysol because I spray down the studio and the microphones every morning. So Lysol is, you think it's in short supply? I don't worry. I could spray it all over the place, right? Because I just go over to Ace Hardware, Deerfield with Beach Ace Hardware, and they have it. Make sure you mention the Steve Kane Show when you stop in. All right, welcome back, one and all, the conservative cancel culture. You know, I'll tell you this. Conservatives fall into these bear traps all the time. You know, the Democrats have the worst candidate at the top of the ticket in the history of presidential elections in this country with Joe Biden. No question about it, right? And they've got these phony movements going on with BLM and everything, you know. And Republicans play right into their hands. John Lewis very well may have been the last person in the inner circle of Martin Luther King. I mean the real inner circle. I'm not the last person that was with him here or there. He was like family to Martin Luther King. He is a saintly figure in American society, certainly in the African American community. And for Republicans to run around trashing John Lewis, does that seem smart right now with what's going on? Does that seem like are you trying to fit the stereotype that the Democrats are putting on us? It sounds like you are, to me. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Leave it to get to the back of the bus, Rich, to talk bad about Mr. Lewis. Kudos for you for standing up for what's right.
Yeah. You sound like you're speechless. Were you surprised that I'm complimenting and praising John Lewis?
No, there's a good bone in your body.
Oh, which bone is it? Is it the thigh bone, the knee bone? Which is the bone that's good? I'll make sure I take care of that bone.
I just wanted to pitch an idea for your Freestyle Friday show. You should allow 5 minutes for any of your callers to debate each other on the topic of your choice. Because I would love to get to the back of the bus with Richie on anything and choke him out until...
On anything?
Any topic.
Any topic.
And I want to sit back and listen to how many times he called me a moron. And by the way, get to the back of the bus, Richie, when you're talking about the time, it's hour, not hour. Take it easy, man.
Now, what you're confusing his accent. Because you've slipped a couple times and said axe, so you confuse his accent. He says it right. Richie's a good guy. He's got a little problem here and there on some things. I don't always agree with Richie. But, yeah, so attacking John Lewis, that's what the left want to hear. Don't you guys get it? And, all this talk about renaming Confederate bases, these bases named after Confederate generals, I did not even know that. Did you guys know that Fort Bragg was named after a Confederate general, or Fort Hood? I had no idea. Never thought about it before. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to be offended at something, and change everything. You don't want, as all this talk against the cancel culture that we're involved in, that's what you're doing here with John Lewis. And it's really a stupid move to make at this particular time. It really is a stupid move to make. It fits right in to what they want you to do. Is they can say, look at those good old boy Trump supporting racists. They're attacking John Lewis. You are making this stereotype they have of Trump supporters come true when you attack John Lewis. Now, they are going to use John Lewis's death against Trump, okay? He's not going to be invited to the funeral, and Trump, and everything they do over this will be like the John McCain funeral, okay? He'll be excluded. They're going to try to do everything in his name, everything that Trump is, John Lewis would have voted for Joe Biden. John Lewis, they did this when Ted Kennedy died. Ted Kennedy died not long before Obamacare was passed. And they were having a difficult time getting Obamacare passed. And they tried to use the death of Ted Kennedy. Did I say John Kennedy? I meant to say Ted Kennedy if I did. They used the death of Ted Kennedy to try to pass. This is what Senator Kennedy wanted. Ted Kennedy. They were even talking about renaming the Affordable Care Act after Ted Kennedy. You know what I mean? And we saw what they did with John McCain. It's going to be much the same with John Lewis. So don't let their thoughts about Trump supporters being racist sound true by attacking the great and the honorable John Lewis. Now, with that being said, Roger Stone, I'm a big fan of Roger Stone. Roger Stone gave an interview, and he was being interviewed by a black host, and during the interview, it's being alleged that he referred to him as a Negro, and they're saying that this is racist. Negro is not the dreaded N-word, but it's about to become that. And Roger Stone denies that he said it. I pulled up the audio, and not only did I pull up the audio, I pumped up the volume on it, okay, to make it a little louder. And Roger Stone and his crew were saying that this was edited. And that's why I put the audio up real loud. If it was edited, let's hear the other audio, but it sounds like he said it to me during this interview with this black host who was talking about him getting special treatment to get the pardon, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to play it for all of you right now, and you tell me, does it sound to you as if Roger Stone actually said, he called the guy a Negro, which I haven't heard anybody do that in a long time, and it's usually been on black and white film footage somewhere. Let's see here. This is it. Roger Stone. He's being interviewed by this guy.
October 26, 2017. So in other words, Rosenstein, guess what? Lied to Congress about a material matter. When's he being charged?
I don't know. I'd love to
different
see it.
standards here. That's my argument.
No. I do believe that certain people are treated differently in the federal justice system. I do absolutely believe that. But I also believe that your friendship and relationship and history with Donald Trump weighed more heavily than him just wanting to make sure that justice was done by a person in the justice system, that you were treated so unfairly. There are thousands of people treated unfairly daily. How your number just happened to come up in the lottery, I'm guessing it was more than just luck, Roger, right? I'm sorry, what was that? Roger?
Okay, and then there's 40 seconds of dead air. Roger Stone denies saying it. Someone had said that didn't sound like his voice that knows Roger Stone, and admittedly, it is very difficult to tell. But I'd like your thoughts. Did he say it, Roger Stone? And if he did, does it rise to the level that they're trying to rise it to? Should he now be canceled from our culture? I would say no. I'd like to see Roger Stone campaigning for Loomer here in South Florida. Her primary's coming up next month, Laura Loomer, so you want to make sure to vote for her, if you can, if you're in that district. But this is getting a lot of play, and of course the lines have been drawn. It's a little difficult to hear. I'm going to go back and play that part again. See if you can hear it. Listen.
This was done by a person in the justice system, that you were treated so unfairly. There are thousands of people treated unfairly daily. How your number just happened to come up in the lottery, I'm guessing it was more than just luck, Roger, right? I'm sorry, what was that? Roger? Roger?
Okay, and that goes on for about 40 seconds, and then my guess would be, my ear is telling me, and I've heard it several times, and that audio that right there is with everything, the audio pumped up as loud as possible. I don't think you can tell exactly what he says at all. It sounds as if the audio drops out a little bit. And a lot of people hear things through the power of suggestion sometimes. I watch, with my daughter, we watch Japanese anime. Any of you guys watch Japanese anime? And it's all in subtitles. Attack on Titan, Death Note, and these things. And we always watch them with subtitles. They're all dubbed, but we like to watch it in the original Japanese. And it's so funny, my daughter and I talk sometimes. We watch this stuff so much, and sometimes we think we can understand Japanese until we look away and we lose our train of thought. There's a lot of power of suggestion going on in my ear with the Roger Stone. I don't think you can tell what he says. And one thing about Roger Stone, he's an honest guy. And I think Roger Stone is so eccentric that if he did say it, he would admit it. All right, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, Brian, good morning. It's Bob from West Polka.
Hey, Bob, how you doing? Long time no hear.
Yeah, I know. I'm working a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it, okay? But let's say he did say it. Isn't there a United Negro College Fund?
Yes.
So, even if he said it, it's not a bad word.
Well, good word. It's a dated word, Negro. But Roger Stone is an older gentleman, But I'll give you another example. Jew is not a bad word, right? But if you use it in that context, I don't want to talk to this Jew, that's different. You understand what I mean? So you could take a word that's okay and use it in a context to make it not okay. But when's the last time you heard someone use Negro?
On that commercial for the United Negro.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. I don't think it sounds like he said it. I don't think you can tell what he said.
I'm surprised they never changed the name of it, just like the NAACP.
You would think with this cancel culture going on, with changing the name of the military bases, that no one ever heard of these that knew were Confederate names. That certainly the, yeah, that's right. And what about the NAACP?
Yeah, that's what I said. And that's colored people, but that's Democrats. I mean, come on, you still have a blackface governor in the.
Yeah.
You still have Robert Byrd all over West Virginia, but they don't touch their own.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. So what's the word on the street in Florida about the re-election of President Trump?
Quite honestly, the way I see it and the way I talk to everybody, everybody's fed up with the Democrats, with the lawlessness. I see Trump in a landslide.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I think we could see a 48 state, 47, 48 states. We got to give Democrats California, New York, and Hawaii, but we could see 47 states for Trump.
Hey, I wouldn't even, don't count out California either, because what that governor is doing there, I think he's pissing off a lot of people.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
On Fox News yesterday, I forgot.
So you guys can hear the callers much better.
In 16, at this time, the end of July, beginning of August, Hillary Clinton had a 12-point lead.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, Bob, that's a good, yeah, that's right. That's what the president was telling Chris Wallace over the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, take care, Bob. All right, bye-bye. Good morning, you're on the radio.
How you doing? Question I have for you is, again, and I love your work. Why are you letting the correct people set the agenda as far as communicating these situations, such as the one you spoke about with the word Negro? This is all their agenda. Why let them set the agenda semantically?
Oh, you don't think I should talk about the Roger Stone story?
No, not that you shouldn't talk about Roger Stone. That part of the Roger Stone story, I think, is superfluous.
Well, that story and that interview is going crazy on the internet. Okay, it's all on all the internet news sources, conservative and liberal alike. It's all over the place, and I think it's important to Roger Stone's a good man. He's a good guy, and he's very good friends with Laura Loomer, and he's important to her. Yeah, well, not everybody knows, okay? So I'm not talking just to you. I'm talking to the tens of thousands in the audience. But hold on. What are we suckered into? I pull up the audio.
No, not you. Not you. I'm talking about all the conservative radio people. When they get to this esoteric area of their setting the agenda with a political correct dialogue.
Well, I don't think I think what I'm doing with Roger Stone here is setting the record straight. I pulled up the audio. I put the volume up as loud as it would go, and you can't tell what he's saying, Roger Stone. I don't think he said it. I think the power of suggestion makes people hear what they want to hear.
I agree with you. Okay, then maybe it's just a question of how much time we dwell on this instead of the real important issues, like they're burning down Brooklyn, they're burning down Portland, places like that.
So I'm not doing my job properly, is what you're telling me.
Oh, I think you're doing a great job. I always felt you did a great job.
Past tense.
Actually, oh man, I paid money to help get you on a network TV program.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. All right, listen, I got to run for the top of the hour break, but I appreciate the call. We're actually a little late. It's 2 minutes after 7. I'm Brian. 1 hour down, 2 to go. Our number toll-free, 1-888 Go Kane 1.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Does your life insurance policy only pay someone if you die? The new life insurance policies allow you to access your benefits even while you are still alive. Due to changes in the insurance industry, all life insurance carriers in 2020 have adjusted their premiums to your advantage. Life insurance rates
Yeah, subscribe if you're not subscribed, people.
Mortality tables. People are living longer in America, and that means life insurance premiums are lower. Call Debbie and Dan at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080 to learn more and for a free review of your existing life insurance policy. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Are you suffering from decreasing energy, poor libido, weight gain, a foggy mind, an unsatisfactory sex life, or any of the symptoms?
Good morning, Patricia.
Good news, folks. These processes are completely reversible. With his 20 years of experience in age management medicine, Dr. Matez can offer safe, effective protocols that will work for everyone. The Boca Raton Center for Age Management offers hormone replacement therapies, intravenous therapies, peptide therapies, and a host of other cutting-edge modalities that rejuvenate the human body.
And make sure, guys, share the feed on all of your social media. You can share on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you can. Share the video feed. Get your friends over here.
At 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490. Or visit their website at brc4am.com. That's brc4am.com.
Yes, good morning, Patricia.
For the Boca Raton Center for Age Management.
You're stuck in your home and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days in the late afternoon and early evenings. Your air conditioner is running more and more. It may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature that you have it set on. And in some homes, it can't even keep up, losing the battle. And the temperature in your house climbs and you're hot, humid, and uncomfortable. And to top it all off, your electric bill is about to double.
I think I'm going to get into the...
Here comes summer.
I'm going to get into the Chris Wallace stuff.
Insulation. Stop the heat gain and cut your electric bill up to 35% off. Act now and get the pandemic special.
Everyone that's a Patreon supporter can do the meetups that we do on Zoom and House Party. So all Patreon supporters at all levels get to do that.
1500. That's 954-939-1500. Cut my kilowatts.
Yeah, I have a Patreon link in the description of this episode.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350.
Who does not know? Don't say what it is. Who does not know what this is from? Don't say what it is if you know. Who does not know? Press 1. 1 if you don't know. I'm just curious.
The Siegel Law Group with offices throughout Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County.
Don't say what it is if you know.
1-855 FLA 3782.
Wow.
Listening to South Florida's longest running radio show.
Tracy and
The
Alan?
Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-COCAINE 1.
No, become a Patreon supporter.
Cocaine 1. And now, here's...
All right. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve will be with us today, of course. 6 minutes after 7. Okay, so let me start getting to this Chris Wallace interview over the weekend. That was that interview, I would say, with Chris Wallace and President Trump was more of a debate than an interview. And I've seen reported in multiple sources that Chris Wallace is, shocker, get this, they say Chris Wallace is a Democrat. I would never have known. But you know, the thing about Chris Wallace, you know what Chris Wallace is above and beyond anything else? Do you know what he is? He's a snob. Isn't he a snob? You know, at least Anderson Cooper is old blue blood. He hides it, but he's just a snob. He thinks he's better than everyone. He thinks he's smarter than Trump. He thinks Trump is white trash with money, you know, and all this stuff. And has no respect for him because he inherited his daddy's money. Well, how the hell do you think Chris Wallace got all these jobs? Because his dad, Mike Wallace, was a well-respected man, and they wanted to have him around the newsroom because his name was Wallace. Now, as I was saying in the last hour, and then we'll start getting into the audio, the problem I have with these interviews is not that they're rough on President Trump. I think President Trump handles his own, and I think he enjoys it. Okay? What bugs me, what really gets me really upset about these things is Democrats are never interviewed like this. They all get free passes. Here we've got a Democrat he's not the nominee, the presumed nominee of the Democrat Party, who not only was opposed to busing, he was brought up, and we were talking about how John Lewis was mentored by the great Martin Luther King, right? Who mentored Joe Biden? Segregationists. And everyone knows this. Oh, by the way, what the hell happened to Kamala Harris? Have you guys seen the new video of Kamala Harris, what type of cosmetic work has she had done? My wife says it looks like she's had a chin implant. To me, Kamala Harris looks like she has the same cosmetic surgeon as Michael Jackson. It's very strange. Either Michael Jackson's cosmetic surgeon or Jack Nicholson's The Joker from the 1980, was it 85 or 87? 87? When did Batman come out? 87? 89. Yeah, the 89 Batman. Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. I mean, she just looks, woo! Very strange. But you know, this cosmetic work of Kamala Harris has everyone talking that she thinks she's the pick. That's why she's getting all this work done. But anyway, Chris Wallace. So this interview debate with the president, it was a rough interview, but I'm not happy with it at all. I'm not happy with it at all. And you know, they would never ask Joe Biden tough questions. Never. Never. Because they hate Trump and they want, you know, again, it could be any Republican. When people forget, you know, this spray painting of Black Lives Matter in front of Trump Tower. Remember what they did when George W. Bush was president? They camped out down the street and as close as they could get to his ranch in Crawford for years. Remember that? Cindy Sheehan and they were there for years, camped out in front of the ranch in Crawford. This is what they always do to Republicans. But you know, the reason that, you know why it bugs you so much and bugs me so much? Donald Trump is the first president that we really care about, right? I mean, he's the first one that I really care all that much about, while he's president even. Oh, I supported George Bush. I'm sorry that I did. I didn't realize what a creep he was. But we weren't at least me, I didn't feel personally connected. But to Donald Trump, I do. So what happens to Trump, it's like it's happening to me or someone in my family. You know what I mean? I connect with him. I think you guys do. But all Republicans deal with this nonsense. So anyway, well, let's get to it. This is Chris Wallace. Okay, now this part here, this is when they're talking about the polls. He questions him about the polls and then gets into the cognitive testing. Okay, Chris Wallace with the president.
Fox News has a new poll out today, and you're going to be the very first person to hear about it. In the national horse race, Joe Biden leads you by 8 points, 49% to 41. That's, I think, 3-4 points slimmer than it was a month ago. And on the issues, people trust Biden more to handle the coronavirus by 17 points, on race relations by 21 points, and even on the economy, they trust Biden more by 1 point. I understand you still have more than 100 days to this election, but at this point, you're losing.
Oh my goodness. When was the last time there was a boat parade? You're losing. You hear the smile in his voice too, Chris Wallace? He's all excited. Listen to how he says it. He's all excited.
By 17 points, on race relations by 21 points, and even on the economy, they trust Biden more by 1 point. I understand you still have more than 100 days to this election, but at this point, you're losing.
You're losing. He's all excited. When's the last time there was a boat parade for Biden? There was a boat parade for President Trump in New York over the weekend, right? We've had multiple boat parades here in Florida. Boat parades are part of Florida life. I've never seen a boat parade for any president before. There's been multiple boat parades that spontaneously happened for President Trump, and there was one in New York over the weekend. You're losing! You're losing! Then why are these boat parades happening all over the place, Chris Wallace? But the president handles himself very well.
First of all, I'm not losing, because those are fake polls. They were fake in 2016, and now they're even more fake. The polls were much worse in 2016. They interviewed 22% Republican. Well, how do you do 22% Republican?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about the other day. 22% Republican, and the rest was evenly divided between Democrats and independents. And we know how independents are. They're independently liberal Democrats.
What's going on? I have other polls that put me leading. We have polls where I'm leading. I have a poll where we're leading in every swing state. And I don't believe that you're First of all, the Fox polls, whoever does your Fox polls, they're among the worst. They got it all wrong in 2016. They've been wrong on every poll I've ever seen.
I must tell you.
No, I'm just telling you. And let me ask you this. So on the economy, so I've always led on the economy by a lot.
I know, which is why I was
Biden
surprised by
can't
this
put
number.
two sentences together. They wheel him out, he goes up, he repeats, they ask him questions, he reads a teleprompter, and then he goes back into his basement. You tell me the American people want to have that in an age where we're in trouble with other nations that are looking to do numbers on us.
So let me ask you a direct question. No, I'm going to ask you a direct question about Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden senile?
Yeah, well, why don't you go ask Biden, Chris Wallace? Oh, we requested an interview. Why don't you go to his campaign headquarters and start asking what the hell's going on? Is he senile? Is he suffering from dementia? Why are you asking Trump? Why aren't you asking his campaign? Why aren't you having doctors on Fox talking about that? Go ask Fauci. We'll go back here, see what Chris Wallace and Trump have to say about this.
That are looking to do numbers on us.
So let me ask you a direct question. No, I'm going to ask you a direct question about Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden senile?
I don't want to say that. I say he's not competent to be president. To be president, you have to be sharp and tough and so many other things. He doesn't even come out of his basement. They think, oh, this is a great campaign. So he goes in, I'll then make a speech, it'll be a great speech, and some young guys start writing, Vice President Biden said this. He didn't say it. Joe doesn't know he's alive, okay? He doesn't know he's alive. Do the American people want that? Number one. Number two.
Wow, that's pretty... When do you have we're so lucky to have President Trump as our president. He's just an amazing guy. First off, I'll tell you this. This president is just amazing that he's kept this country together. Even our economy's doing well when they're shutting it down all the time, right? You know, we got more curfews back here in South Florida. It's disgusting. But when have we ever had such a plain-speaking president who talks directly to the American people, telling you what he thinks about everything? I mean, really, this isn't some politically correct. This is just so refreshing. And when Trump's second term is over, there will never be a president, even a Republican, that is as honest as Donald Trump. I think it's amazing, his honesty when he gives these interviews. He asks him about Biden. He's giving him his honest opinions.
President Biden said this. He didn't say it. Joe doesn't know he's alive.
Oh, my goodness.
Doesn't know he's alive. Do the American people want that? Number one. Number two, I built the greatest economy ever built anywhere in the world. Not only in this country, anywhere in the world. Until we got hit with the China virus. We got hit with a virus. Shouldn't have happened. And we had to close up. We saved millions of lives. Now we've opened it up. Got to go back to school. We're open. We got to do things. We had the best job numbers we've ever had last month. We should have good ones coming up in 2 weeks. Look, I built the greatest economy in history. I'm now doing it again. You see the numbers. The numbers are through the roof. The Democrats are purposely keeping their schools closed, keeping their states closed. I called Michigan. I want to have a big rally in.
Listen.
You know we're not allowed to have a rally in Michigan. Do you know?
See, this is interesting. This election interference going on by Democrats. This is what he's talking about here. They are stopping rallies from taking place in all these states because they don't want Trump to have rallies. And he's talking about Michigan. He'll go through some other ones. You want to talk about election interference. And what Democrats are doing around America is taking away our constitutional right, our constitutional guarantee, freedom of assembly. Right? They're not even allowing the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, the freedom of assembly. He's being denied his constitutional rights.
The numbers are through the roof. The Democrats are purposely keeping their schools closed, keeping their states closed. I called Michigan. I want to have a big rally in Michigan. Do you know we're not allowed to have a have a rally in Minnesota? Do you know we're not allowed to have a rally in Nevada? We're not allowed to have rallies in these Democrat-run states.
Some people would say that that's a health risk.
Some people would say it's a health risk. Some people would say, yeah, Democrats that don't want Trump to have rallies because, well, the rallies, that's what does it. If we could stop you from having rallies. You know, I use this comparison with rock bands. You know, Pearl Jam was one of the biggest groups of the grunge 90s rock era. And they got into this battle with Ticketmaster, who did all the tickets for every concert, and they stopped touring because of Ticketmaster disputes. And they went down the tubes for many, many years. You know, if a band doesn't tour, they're out. They got to tour. And Trump, They know he's got a tour. Oh, we'll stop him. We'll stop him. These swing states, we got some Democrats there. Some would say from Ivy Tower, it's a health issue. Sounds like a Democrat issue of not liking, the people to decide who the presidents are. To me,
People would say fine, but I guarantee
we
you,
have some issues after
if
Tulsa.
everything was gone 100%, they still wouldn't allow it. They're not allowing me to do it. So they're not allowing me to have rallies.
But I got to tell you, if I may, sir, respectfully, in the Fox poll, they asked people, who is more competent? Whose mind is sounder? Biden beats you in that.
oh my gosh! Wait, now that right there, when the guy said I'm running for Senate, he's calling his sister his wife. For Chris Wallace to sit there and with Chris Wallace, the story is, what the hell are we doing with our pollsters at Fox News? Because how can anyone say that Biden has a sound mind and Trump doesn't? I mean, that right there is enough to discount the poll. But listen to this exchange.
They're not allowing me to have rallies.
But I got to tell you, if I may, sir, respectfully, in the Fox poll, they asked people, who is more competent? Whose mind is sounder? Biden beats you in that.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a test. Let's take a test right now. Let's go down, Joe and I will take a test. Let him take the same test that I took.
Incidentally, I took the test too when I heard that you passed it.
Yeah, how did
it's
you
not
do
the
it?
Well, it's not the hardest test.
No, but
it
the
has
last
a picture and it says left hand and it's an elephant.
No. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation. Because, yes, the first few questions are easy, but I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard, the last 5
Well,
questions.
one of them was count back from 100 by 7.
Oh my! I don't know if I could do that. I could do it. It would be pretty slow. I'd have to use my fingers. Count backwards by 7? I don't think I could get very far. I'd have to start thinking. Trump did it. And, Chris Wallace, what he wants is Trump to ask him the questions because he's done it and he has them in advance so he can They don't let you prep when you go to the doctor for the cognitive test, Chris Wallace. How many of you could count backwards from 100 by 7, fast, normal, boom, 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 without using fingers and thinking? Chris Wallace says he can do it. Yeah, right.
You couldn't answer. You couldn't.
Did you hear that?
Many of the questions. I get you. The first few questions are easy.
Okay, now you see what Wallace is. What's the question? Chris Wallace has studied the test and prepped for it. You don't study and prep for the cognitive test, Chris Wallace, okay? He wants him to do it so he can show he can pass. That's not how it works. What a jerk.
But I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard, the last 5
Well,
questions.
one of them was count back from 100 by 7.
And let me tell you, you couldn't answer. You could.
Yeah.
All right, what's the question?
Many of the questions. I get you the test. I'd like to give it. But I guarantee you that Joe Biden could not answer those questions. Okay?
Okay. What a jerk. One of the things that they don't understand about the Trump train that has boat parades and everything for Trump is how much the Trump supporters love Donald Trump. I love it, and people say a lot of times they love this. I love ice cream. I love chocolate ice cream. I love chocolate. You don't really love chocolate. You like it a lot. With Trump supporters really love Donald Trump. They love him. They don't just like him like they like chocolate and say, I love chocolate. They love Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump. And I know you guys do too. And they don't get it. Oh, man. Oh, I got to tell you guys about Champagne Automotive Repair. They have done repairs on 2 of my cars. My daughter's car and my Ford Explorer. I was talking to you guys about my Ford Explorer last week, and I've been driving it all week. I actually drove it to work today. And my Ford Explorer is 17 years old. It's an 03, and it has 180,000 miles on it. The car is so old, it has a cassette deck in it. I'm not kidding. It has a cassette deck in it. In fact, I bought over the weekend a adapter that you put in the cassette deck so you can have Bluetooth. I have this cassette deck Bluetooth converter, so I have Bluetooth in it now because I got to put this thing in the cassette deck. 17 years old, 180,000 miles. It has been sitting at my house, not being driven, for at least 2 years. maybe even 3 years, I haven't been driving this car. And the car, it needed work done to it, man. It needed a new radiator and some other things done to it. And I didn't get the car repaired all this time because I was afraid to take it to the mechanic, that they were going to tell me I need this, I need that. And I didn't want to get rid of the car. It belonged to my stepfather, who passed away, and my mom gave me the car. I didn't want to get rid of the car. I'm a little nostalgic, you know, sentimental guy. And Champaign Automotive, I took it over there. I got the car back Thursday. This Ford Explorer, 17 years old, 180,000 miles, drives like it right off the showroom floor. It is such a smooth ride. My daughter was absolutely amazed. I took my daughter on Saturday for a ride. We went out to Starbucks, and I took her in my Explorer, and she was amazed. It rides like new, like new. It's absolutely amazing, and that's Champaign Automotive. And they did the repair at a price that wasn't just affordable, but that was worth it. Do you know how many times I almost had this car hauled off to the junkyard? You have no idea how many times. I was going to sell it for $50 or however much they give you, right? And it drives like new. I'm so glad I kept this car. I'm so glad we found Champaign Automotive Repair, where they will never do a repair on your vehicle that your vehicle does not need. They did an amazing job on my Ford Explorer. And I got it back. I'm so excited. I love that car. I really do. It's a nice car, you know, and it's got a lot of miles on it, but so what? I got Champaign Automotive Repair now, and if I ever need another repair, I'll take it back. But they looked over the car from bumper to bumper. And a car that old with that many miles, they could have told me it needed everything under the sun, but they didn't. They told me exactly what it needed. It needed brakes, and it needed a new radiator. It had a hole in the radiator, and that's it. And it runs like new. Listen, they do it all, from oil changes to transmission repair. They do it all. AC work. They do everything at Champaign Automotive Repair. They're in Boca. They'll never do a repair that your car does not need. And you can trust them. My daughter's car, what I had done to my daughter's car is the motor broke and her passenger side window, and they repaired that for me. Their number is 561-245-8101. Give them a call. 561-245-8101. Champaign Automotive Repair in Boca. Good morning. You're on the radio.
This is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
You know, the thing I gotta say
thanks,
about
Jody.
Chris Wallace is the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. His dad was who? Mike Wallace?
Yes.
And look, Mike Wallace had a long-standing thing with Reagan. I mean, think about it. You know, and this is he's liberal. His son is liberal, and that's the thing. And Fox is not what Fox used to be. All right.
Well, okay. Now this thing with Chris Wallace and Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, I'm sure, was a liberal. You know, I was a kid when Mike Wallace was running around. You know what I mean? But he did the tough stories. I saw many years ago, before I heard of Chris Wallace, I saw a documentary on Mike Wallace many years ago. And he was interviewing on camera out-of-the-closet gay men in the 1960s on network television. It was a special called The Homosexuals. And he was interviewing gay men. They didn't have their faces obscured or anything on network television. It was in black and white. It was so long ago. So he was covering the controversial stories and doing controversial things. What news has Chris Wallace ever broken? What big story has Chris Wallace ever brought to us?
Zero.
Trump's a jerk. All the mainstream media are doing that one. Trump's a liar. They're all doing that one.
Right.
I don't know of any major news event or tough story that Chris Wallace. Now, if he has, please let me know. I think he just got by on his daddy's famous name.
Right, that's the thing, and if you look at how liberal Fox has gotten as of late. I mean, you may say, well, yeah, the guys, the opinion guys aren't liberal. You know, Hannity and Judge Jeanine and Laura Ingraham and people and Tucker Carlson, they're not liberal, but the news people, the news reporters and the news guys, yeah, they're very, very liberal.
Yeah.
And he was citing the Fox polls. Think about it. Who runs?
I mean, now let me. I just looked up Chris Wallace's Wikipedia. Okay, so let's just go through his Wikipedia. All right. Okay. Although accepted to Yale Law School, it's a pretty big deal, right? I guess, when your dad's Mike Wallace, and it's like 1970. That Mike Wallace meant something back then, right? Although accepted at Yale Law School, Chris Wallace instead took a job with the Boston Globe. He said he realized he wanted to move to television when he noticed all the reporters at the 72 political conventions were watching the proceedings on TV instead of in person. For a time in the early 1970s, he worked for WBBM-TV in Chicago, which was owned and operated by CBS. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that where 60 Minutes is? So Chris Wallace just decided, I want to be in television. I want to work at the Boston Globe. I want to work here. I want to work there instead of go to college, go to graduate school, go to law school. He doesn't understand that all these people hired him because his dad was Mike Wallace. He thinks he's done something. But I'm going through his Wikipedia here. He was on NBC in 75 through 88 as a reporter. Then he was on Primetime with Nightline, then Fox News Sunday for the last 17 years. I don't see anything here of any story that he broke or any tough story or interview that he brought to TV. I don't see anything outstanding. He worked at all these big places, but I don't see anything major that he's ever done in his career. He's like Biden in the Senate. Biden's been in the Senate, since the days when he was a cub reporter here at the networks. And you look at Joe Biden, he's been around for a long time, but no one can tell you any bills that he brought to the floor and the good that he did. It seems that way with Chris Wallace.
The one thing you can say about Joe Biden is that his name is tied to the 1990s crime bill.
Oh yeah, they put all the that's right that the liberals are against now.
Right. So
yeah,
it was tied to that, and also there are things that are being said about.
Do you know who the actor Nicolas Cage is? Do you know what his real name is? Most people don't know this. You probably know. What is Nick Cage's real last name? Nicolas Cage. He's a great actor, isn't he? Is he a great actor? What's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Oh, I love the series with the National Treasure.
National Treasure, that's a good one. Well, his real name, and I only saw him use it in one movie. And then after that, he went to use this fake name, right? Nicolas Cage. He was in Valley Girl. Did you ever know that Nick Cage was in Valley Girl? Yeah, he was in Valley Girl. His real name is Nick Coppola. Nick Coppola. Who do you think? Yeah, who do you think his uncle is? Yeah, of the greatest American movie of all time, The Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola, and that means his aunt is Talia Shire, right? Coppola's sister from Rocky and everything else, and Godfather too. So Nick Cage could have been Nick Coppola. He was Nick Coppola in Valley Girl. Every other credit, it's Nick Cage. Most people don't even know it. He went out and made a career on his own. Not on his famous family name, because he wanted people to see that he could do it. Oh, but Chris Wallace, I go through his career, and it's just bland primetime job after primetime job, but no news that he broke, no major interview that he scored that everybody else wasn't doing. He doesn't even have an interview in his Wikipedia like back in the 80s. He went and interviewed Gaddafi when that was a big thing. Oh, they're talking to Gaddafi. Oh, my goodness. Nothing. He gets by on that name, unlike Nicolas Cage, who says, you know what? Maybe that name got me in, but I want to be on my own now.
And think about this. You look at all those guys from that era, from like Hugh Downs and from that era where Mike Wallace was going strong, like Hugh Downs and all the rest of them. they made their names. They did stories.
I'm no fan of Ghost Rider.
Yeah, they may have been liberal, but they got their names.
What's the Alcatraz movie he did? That's a good one.
Great story.
The Rock, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, The Rock. I would say, by the way, my favorite Nick Cage movie is The Rock. I love The Rock.
I like The Rock, but I like the National Treasure.
National Treasure's good. I just watched National Treasure not too long ago. It's on Disney+. All right. Oh, Gone in 60 Seconds is a great movie. Nicolas Cage, that's right. Hey, we'll take our break, all right? My name's Brian. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire.
You ready?
Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road.
Peggy Sue Got Married? I forgot he was in that.
No added charges.
I don't think I've seen Peggy Sue Got Married.
Good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive, and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Moonstruck? That's not my kind of movie. That's a girl's movie.
FriendlyTire.net.
This is Steve Kane. I'm here chatting with Dr. Troy Lemaski, my personal chiropractor. Dr. Troy, how are you today?
Doing well, Steve.
Chiropractic is an art. All the nerves in your body go through your spine. If your spine's out of line, the nerves get pinched, and of course you're going to have all kinds of symptoms and all kinds of pain as a result of that. And until you get that spine realigned, you're going to be in pain.
100% correct. If you have a joint, especially in your back, that's stuck, that's not moving properly, it will put pressure not only possibly on nerves, but more of the time on soft tissue structures such as the ligaments, the muscles, and it will create pressure. There are nerves within the joint called mechanoreceptors, and they will affect the actual nerves that are in the joint. Pinch nerves are very common, and they do come from spinal misalignment, but not everybody that has a problem has a pinch nerve.
Yeah, another one, Con Air, that's a big one.
In a short period of time, and you have the
Steve Kane Show.
I'll tell you that. When I walk out of your office, it's you feel like a whole new person. I know you take great care of everybody.
Con Air, that's a great one. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, people.
Doctor, give them the number of the office where they can make an appointment.
It's Coast Chiropractic Injury and Wellness Center, and the phone number is 954-463-3036. 954-463-3036. We're located in East
Con Air is
Philadelphia.
excellent movie.
We're just one block of US 1 and Oakland Park Boulevard, right off Middle River Drive. The address is 2510 East Oakland Park Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale.
Dr. Troy Lemaski, a great healer. Make an appointment today.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve.
All right, we are back 37 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We got Steve on the line. And good morning, Steve. I'm doing all right. I have the final pieces of equipment for your new studio at home that I'm giving to the engineer today.
But it's going to be great. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. I just heard the spot for Troy Lemaski. Is his office open on Mondays?
It is.
It's okay. Well, I will be. Dr. Lemaski, if you're listening, I will be there.
Dr. Troy. Yeah, Dr. Troy Lemaski. Dr. Janae Lemaski's brother. Yeah, absolutely. He's a miracle. He's a miracle worker. So how was your weekend?
Depression. I spent most of the time watching the news.
Well, that's the problem.
Well, I'll tell you in a nutshell what depressed me this weekend. I had a long conversation with a person who is probably the dearest person in the world to me, my sister, out in California. And she is a very very bright, very well educated, somewhat sheltered. I guess the best way to describe her is she's a flower child. And with all that that entails in terms of her political naivete, and she is the opposite profile of me, whereas I just watch Fox all the time, and really nothing else. She watches MSNBC and all the time.
So she must think that Florida is going through some major pandemic where everybody's dying and we're loading bodies into mass graves.
Exactly. That was the least.
Well, that's the least.
And you'll see why I was depressed. Because we who are relatively sane, I mean, I don't watch a lot of the opposing stations, CNN and MSNBC, but I do watch a little, and I certainly know what's going on, and I know what the arguments are, and what the fallacies are. This way, she does nothing about what's going on, and she calls the thugs and the what would you call them, the mob? She calls them demonstrators.
Is she talking about the ones that burned down the police precincts and all this?
Well, of course, because she watches CNN and MSNBC, they haven't shown.
Well, she must be upset, though. She must be upset that her governor in California has shut down the Californian economy.
No, I don't think
she's not upset. She doesn't care.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But all I know is when I say she hates Trump...
My favorite Batman is Adam West.
She's trying to argue with me, and she's throwing Mary Trump at me.
Mary Trump?
Yeah, did you read the book?
Read the book. She did not read Mary Trump's book. You're kidding me.
No, but she listens to Rachel. Did you hear Mary Trump on Rachel Maddow? I said, well, no, as a matter of fact, I didn't. But that's all she hears.
Yeah.
You know, and when we get so cocky that there's no way people could, the Americans, could watch what's going on and see America as we have known it and loved it through the years, see it dissolve, or a better way of putting it is going up in a puff of smoke, and she thinks these are good guys. They're demonstrating.
Well, I think what that means is that Trump's not going to win California where she lives then. We're in trouble.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. That's true, but that's the least of it. If there are enough people like her in the country, she really, I said, these people are burning towns down here, for crying out loud. She said, well, they have no other way to demonstrate their political...
Oh, really?
Yeah. She thinks, she agrees with the mayors who don't want to let the feds in.
So when they broke into that Apple store and stole all the computers, that's demonstrating. They have no other way to express themselves?
Demonstrating how you can get a free computer.
Yeah.
This is what that's about. But seriously speaking, we really make light of the number of people that are that sheltered, because we assume everybody knows a little something. But these liberals they won't listen to anything. They won't expose themselves to any facts which contradict their view of reality. And if there are enough of those people out there, some could lose.
Yeah, but I don't think there are. I think she's in California, so that clouds her vision of everything.
And the fruits and nuts.
That's right. Well, let's take a call or two. Good morning. You are on the radio.
Good morning, Good morning, Steve, as well. You know, I'm sorry to hear your sister is like that, but fortunately for us, I think there's not that many people who are really watching CNN and MSNBC, so we have the majority, I hope.
What do you hope? Okay.
No. If you added up the viewership of CNN and MSNBC, most of the time it wouldn't. Both of them combined don't equal the Fox News audience.
It's not so much watching those two stations. It's her refusal to watch anything that would represent where she might get a whiff of regular news.
Oh.
And she doesn't want to hear it.
Well, you know, the Steve Kane Show comes on the air California time. You know, I know early in the morning, but she could catch the overnight rebroadcast. Maybe we could convert her if she starts listening to the Steve Kane Show.
That's for sure.
We talk on the phone for hours.
We come on at 9 p.m. every night. Oh, the overnight begins at 9 p.m. her time.
But what I'm saying is, even when we talk, you know, conversation about other things, she, once it gets into politics, she just withdraws from it. She can't take it. She doesn't want to hear it. And that's, you know, the old story of the Nile is not just a river in Egypt.
Yeah, it's the state of California.
I would hate to give those stations any money, but I think if we put some of our commercials on for the president, I think maybe they'll start influencing them a little bit.
What makes you think they'd run them?
Well, they like money, so I think they'll take the money.
Really? Yeah.
But I'm hoping, hey.
All right, Doug, is that all you got?
No, there's Chris, Matt.
Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace. You know, I normally wouldn't watch that. I only watched it because the president was on. And I'm so glad that the president's told him off, kind of saying that, you know, you're more of a Democrat.
I think Chris Wallace looks bad.
Yeah.
He looks weak. He looks an 8 or lunch.
Didn't he look like a snob too, Chris Wallace?
Oh yeah,
but he looks weak. Trump really brought him upside down good.
You know, I've never seen. I thought it was really cool what Trump did. How he had McEnany, the press secretary, there with all the things he wanted to show him.
Yeah.
He didn't like that, Chris Wallace.
Were you able to get that?
Yeah, I got that. Oh, there was. It doesn't play so much in the audio, so we got to kind of explain it as opposed to play it. But there was one portion where Chris Wallace didn't like. President Trump had McEnany come over to set the record straight. Trump gave him a document or a news article, and instead of running that, Chris Wallace edited in something that made his point. Yeah, you know what I mean? Not Trump's point. It was some of the most dishonest journalism I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was. What was the issue? The issue was.
It was Biden wants to defund the cops, and Trump was about to go through an article that McEnany gave him, and instead Chris Wallace edited in some, and it was also on the COVID deaths too, nationwide, the rank of countries. Chris Wallace edited in something that fit his narrative, not the answer that the subject of the interview was giving him.
If anybody else out there noticed it, but that was shocking.
I've never seen that in an interview like that. It was pretty. That was rough. That was I don't know. It was malpractice, unethical. I don't know. Unethical. Yeah. All right, listen, we got to take a break, all right? But when we get back, we have more to talk about. Steve Kane joining us, of course, on the phone. And we are constructing a studio for Steve in his master bedroom at home, which hopefully will be done this week. All right, let's take our break, and we'll be back.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt really soft in the store? But when you go to use it, it's not very absorbent. It's basically a towel that's leaving you out to dry. Michael Lindell, Trump supporter and inventor of MyPillow, has developed a towel that actually works. Towels that actually dry you. MyPillow is debuting the MyPillow 6-piece towel set that includes 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. They come in a variety of colors, and right now, when you buy one set, you get another set free. But you gotta use the promo code KANE, KANE, at checkout. Go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get the buy one, get one free on the 6-piece set off MyPillow towels, just go to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special, and enter the promo code KANE, KANE, at checkout. Or call them directly, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. That's MyPillow.com, promo code KANE. Kane.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of 2 magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Well, one of the things I noticed when I first walked into Ace Hardware is that you carry such a wide variety of the big brands all under one roof. It's astounding.
That takes this new practice. It's called best brands. And under
Oh,
one
I was
roof,
surprised.
we have major
Say
categories.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I was surprised how few people knew what that was.
Steel power equipment, and more paint. Weber grills, McCullen grills, Traeger grills, Big Green Egg. We are a platinum dealer. We
No,
have
he's
a
got to get out
large
of bed.
selection of Green Egg products.
It's not a
All
studio
under
in the
one
bed.
roof.
You got to
All with
actually
people
get
that are
up
experienced.
and go
They'll show
somewhere.
you how to
No, you
use
got to actually get out of bed
There
to
are
use
lots
it.
of
He's
Ace
just got a
Hardware
bedroom. He's got a
stores,
bedroom
but there are only
that's about the
2
size
that are
of
advertising with the Steve Kane
half my
Show.
house.
We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard.
I
on
told you
the
his
west side
bathtub
of Federal,
is like the
and
size of
course,
a
the
it's a
Beach
sauna.
Ace
is what it is.
Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale
Believe me.
by the Sea. Very, very
No,
special
gotta get out of
locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
Oh yeah, and I noticed over the weekend, it's impossible if you go to Publix. You can't get all those things you're looking for. All these numbers are going up again in Florida. You can't get Lysol and all that stuff. Well, that's not true. The Beach Ace Hardware and Deerfield Ace Hardware carry all those cleaning supplies you're looking for, including Lysol and masks too. They have Lysol over at Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware and all the other cleaning supplies you're looking for as well. All right, got Steve Kane on the line. You back with us, Steve? All right, now let me play another clip here. This is, part of the problem Chris Wallace has is he thinks he's smarter than Trump. He thinks he's smarter than Trump. He's better than Trump, and he's all snarky. And he's trying to set Trump up with something, and Trump's just too smart for him. This is Chris Wallace asking the president about the election results.
In general, not talking about November, are you a good loser?
Hey, Kathy.
I'm not a good loser. I don't like to lose. I don't lose too often. I don't like to lose.
But are you gracious?
You don't know until you see. It depends. I think mail-in voting is going to rig the election. I really do.
Are you suggesting that you might not accept the results of the election?
I have to see. Look.
Okay, so this part, see, what Chris Wallace is doing is they want the mainstream media on election night to declare Biden the winner and have him on tape saying he'll accept the results, and they're going to declare the winner, and that's the results. Yeah, these people are disgusting, including Chris Wallace.
This was Al Gore, a total loser, when he challenged the results in Florida.
Yeah.
With the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
In fact, I wish Trump would have said there a couple good lines I would have liked.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I would have liked Trump to have said, well, if it turns out that there's fraud in the election, and you're suggesting I should not challenge it if it's fraudulent?
Yeah.
That would have...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then he got into the bases, renaming the bases. This is good, too.
You said that Black Lives Matter and the Confederate flag are both issues of freedom of speech. But in the case of the Confederate flag, there are a lot of people who say these were traitors who split from this country, fought this country in large part to preserve slavery. Is the Confederate flag offensive?
It depends on who you're talking about, when you're talking about. When people proudly had their Confederate flags, they're not talking about racism. They love their flag. It represents the South. They like the South. People right now like the South. I say it's freedom of many things, but it's freedom of speech.
So you're not offended by it?
Well, I'm not offended either by Black Lives Matter. That's freedom of speech. And the whole thing with cancel culture, we can't cancel our whole history. We can't forget that the North and the South fought. We have to remember that.
I was going to get to the bases. Listen.
You can't just cancel all.
But let me ask you this when it gets to be more than just cancel. Well, maybe this is cancel culture. the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, you have threatened to veto it because in the bill, and this is supported by Republicans as well as Democrats, it would rename Army bases named for Confederate generals. Now, this is a bill that funds...
Now, this gets really good. Trump gives a good answer here.
Military operations. It gives soldiers a pay raise.
Yeah.
You're going to veto
Because they'll get their pay raise. Hey, look, don't tell me this. I got soldiers the biggest pay raises in the history of our military. I got soldiers brand new equipment, brand new jets, brand new rockets, brand new 2.5 trillion. I did more for the military than any president that's ever had this
You're gonna
office.
veto this?
Because I think that Fort Bragg, Fort Robert E. Lee, all of these forts that have been named that way for a long time, decades and decades.
But the military says they're for it.
Excuse me. I don't care what the military says. I'm supposed to make the decision.
I like that part. So Chris Wallace says, but the Army, like they're running the government, right? Trump says, I don't care what the military says, I'm the boss. But listen to what he says. This is good.
Fort Bragg is a big deal. We won 2 world wars. Nobody even knows General Bragg. We won 2 world wars. Go to that community where Fort Bragg is in a great state. I love that state. Go to the community. Say, how do you like the idea of renaming Fort Bragg? And then what are we going to name it? You going to name it after the Reverend Al Sharpton?
Yeah, I like that.
That's great.
That's a good one.
That was the best.
Yeah.
Chris, look, I've never seen Chris Wallace look as weak in an interview as he did in that.
Well, I think part of that is Chris Wallace believes his own rap on Trump, that Trump's stupid, he's smart. He didn't prepare like he normally would for an interview, maybe, because he thinks Trump's not up to his level of questioning. He doesn't have to prepare.
Well, I don't know that. I think he did prepare.
Steve Kane Show.
I think he can handle Trump when it comes to some of the best material with some of the spontaneous interchanges that, you wouldn't necessarily come up with in preparation. They come off the top of your head.
Yeah.
This is why when and if Biden gets in the ring with Trump, it's going to be a bloodbath. Because Trump is great at this and Biden is non-compos mentis.
Yeah, and when they get up there, Biden may even wonder why Trump is up there. After all, he's running against the president, and who's this guy? I think that, Chris Wallace did not look good in that interview. He looked weak. He looked arrogant. He was snobby. You want to take some more calls? All right. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, listen, your show is only as good as the people that are watching your show. And when you censor them on YouTube and stop them from commenting and block half of your content over there.
Also, what did you do that got you blocked? You must have done something. Listen, excuse me, can I respond? Excuse me, you're not letting me talk. You're not letting me talk. Can I respond to you?
YouTube, if anybody violates them, then they'll take them off the channel.
First off, who was blocked that you're complaining about?
Unblock everybody.
No, you can't do that. I'll tell you what you can do. You can get your own show, and you can have everybody on. How about that?
Why would you block?
That's a great idea. That you can have a censor-free program.
Unblock everybody off of YouTube.
Why don't you have your own show, and you can let everybody speak and not limit any conversation?
Why censor the people that are watching your...
The only people that I block, okay, are people... Excuse me, do you want to hear the only people that I block, I'm going to tell you who, okay? People that use obscene profanity, okay? People that say things about sponsors and advertisers on this program that are not allowed. Other than that, almost everything else is allowed.
So you censored me from your show now?
Oh, wait a minute, I asked you a minute ago, and you said you weren't. I don't even know who you are.
Here's how I found out that I'm blocked, is because you're scrolling the chat right now on your show, and every time I type in there, nothing comes up. And so that...
I don't even know who you are. Well, then how can I unblock you?
Be censoring anybody. Google has terms of
Okay, slow down. What were you saying, Steve?
blocked by the platform owners. You're no better than Google or YouTube, Brian.
Why are you so afraid to let people know who you are?
Whirlwind. Okay, go on there and type Whirlwind. WHIRLWIND. But then unblock everybody after.
Well, I don't even know who you are.
Everybody. You don't need. Should I tell you my personal name?
No, your name on YouTube.
I just told you what my name on YouTube was.
No, you did. What's your name on YouTube?
Whirlwind.
Okay. All right, I'll look. I don't know. I to my knowledge, you're not blocked. I've never even seen your name before.
Those people that are blocked on your channel that can't speak. What I would suggest is this: is that don't block anybody on the platform.
Put them on hold. If I might make a suggestion, better than Whirlwind, why don't you rename yourself Windbag?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah. Oh, he hung up, Steve. I honestly, I will tell you all, I don't know who he is. I've never heard nor seen his name in our chat room before.
I've heard it before.
I've heard his voice, but I'm talking about his name. So I, to my knowledge, didn't block him. But like I say, the two types of people that get blocked are people that use hardcore obscenities, okay, or that make negative comments about the sponsors, because sometimes you know how liberals do with that. Other than that, almost everything else goes. So, you know. Anyway, that's that. All right, it's time for a break for the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock. So let's take our break, and we will be right back with the third and final hour. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane here with us. Of course, this is Florida's longest running radio show. The Steve Kane Show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
3FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
You're stuck in your home and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days in the late afternoon and early evenings.
I really don't know who he is. I have heard his voice, but I don't know who he is from the chat.
That you have it set on. And
I blocked someone in the first hour who was filling up the chat. The whole chat was their name. Did you know, I did block that person.
Or even triple. Here comes summer. The cure is reflective and or blown insulation. Stop the heat gain and
there was somebody that was filling up the whole chat. I don't know what the name was. I did block that person.
Off-season sale. Act now. Save 50% on reflective and or blown insulation and cut your electric bill up to 35%. Call Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com at 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500. CutMyKilowatts.com. Put your house in the shade today.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's
But that's the only person that was blocked today.
a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority.
Well, I would imagine, I really don't know who he is and I don't recognize the name, that the way he carried on the phone is probably how he carries on in the chat. And what a lot of people don't realize is they can get muted by you guys in the chat, can mute people so you don't see them. So there, it could be that he's not blocked, that some people in the chat have muted him, so they don't see him.
They're stylish, they'll provide you with extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable
Oh.
living trust.
New subscribers. See, that's what happens when you subscribe. You get the Trump with the thumbs up. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet.
Your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel.
My,
He'll give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino
My daughter
Italian
did that.
restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with offices throughout Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County. Call.
Yeah, so if you subscribe, we get that. If you do a super chat, there's another one with Trump. My daughter picked out the pictures. So if somebody leaves a super chat, you'll see the other thing with Trump, which is pretty cool.
Running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free.
All right, and we're back, third and final hour. I'm Brian. We have Steve on the line from what will soon be the Steve Kane Show mobile studio. And
we had a very exciting event happen over the weekend.
did you adopt another black child?
No.
Oh, no. Not that exciting.
But we have hired a member of the Kane family, Tyler Kane, my wonderful son, to be the technical director, to run the board here during the show when it's going to be coming out of our house.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a very talented young man, and actually one of my dreams has always been to work with one or more of my kids.
Yes.
The dream come true.
That's right. That's right. And we're building this studio in your master bedroom. Your master bedroom is about the size of most people's homes, so you've got a very large bedroom. So it'll now have your radio studio in it. At least, since your son will be working with you, I know you won't be doing the show in your underwear like Neil used to do in Toronto.
Well, yeah, no, I have to get dressed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Had to get dressed. Anyway, welcome back. Third and final hour has begun. Oh, I don't want to say who this is, but a good friend of yours and a very good friend of mine, they texted me over the weekend, and they needed to get coronavirus testing, and they had to get it done immediately because they were doing something and going somewhere where they had to get the results yesterday, and I sent them over to any lab test now of Boca. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs, of course, advertised here on the Steve Kane Show. There are lots of any lab test nows, but the Boca Coral Springs locations are the one advertising on the Steve Kane Show. And I sent them over to any lab test now of Boca, where they have that coronavirus test that you and I took with Tyler, which gives you the results in 15 minutes. And not only do you get the results on the spot in 15 minutes, any lab test now of Boca Raton and Coral Springs have the lowest by far on coronavirus testing in South Florida. They also do the antibody test. So listen, any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto, north of Hillsborough. Their number 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood, over by the Coral Square Mall. Their number 954-906-5983. All right, so I have some more audio here. Can I get to some more of this audio? Okay. What was the one I wanted to play for you? Let's see here. Oh, yes. Fauci gave an interview on public television, which should discredit him from now and for the future so far as COVID-19. This is Fauci talking about the model for the rest of the country on how to handle COVID-19.
That when you do it properly,
Steve
you
Kane
bring
Show.
down those cases. We've done it. We've done it in New York. New York got hit worse than any place in the world. And they did it correctly.
It did it correctly, where they have... Well, they have 10 times as many COVID deaths in New York than we have in Florida, and we have a larger population.
That's outrageous.
So New York is the model. They did it right. Isn't that where all the seniors died in the nursing homes?
That's correct. Thousands died, thanks to Mr. Cuomo.
So Fauci thinks that's the model for the rest of the country?
Yeah, he is obviously opposed to Trump.
Yeah, think?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that comment right there that he made, people are talking about it. Very few people are actually playing the video. That was a TV interview we did on public television. That should be enough to put him in proper perspective as where his credibility is.
Well, also, I mean, it's very interesting you say that he did it on public television, because he's playing to his audience if he's on public television. He knows that he's got a lot of liberals listening and a lot of people hostile to Trump, so he is telling them what they want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opportunist, that's all.
Well, you know, a lot of Biden said that when he becomes president of the homeowners association or the retirement community he lives in, that he says when he becomes president, he'll listen to Fauci. So Fauci sees Biden as his ticket back in the Oval Office.
Yeah, it's all politics with him.
Yeah.
He's just interested in his career and not a lot more.
Well, you know, here's the thing with Fauci. Fauci's had this job for like 30-some years, right? I think since H.W. Bush or something, a long time. And I've never heard of him before. Neither has anyone else. And this is like the high point of his life and career. And I don't think he wants it to end, the crisis, because then people won't be going to him.
But he wants to emerge at the end of it as the hero. So that's why he's playing to the press, playing to the gallery, you know, and it's all professional thing.
Yeah.
Career.
You know, did you tell me that you know Leo Terrell?
Yes. In fact, you were going to get Leo for this.
Yeah, I have messaged Leo Terrell several. He's a hot get right now, and I'm trying to get Leo Terrell on the program. Now, Leo Terrell, he's an old black liberal civil rights activist, isn't he? I mean,
not only that. I mean, Leo Terrell. I hope we can get him. Leave a message. Mention my name. He may not remember me, but say that I met him in California when he was doing that. I was producing the Pine Show.
I didn't think Leo Terrell was that old.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely an old liberal, Leo Terrell.
And he was a wild man. I mean, he was. I describe him today as opposed to what he was then. Today he's relatively subdued. He was just a.
So he was a militant black activist and well-known liberal for most of his life. Well, I've got this clip. This is Leo. You know, you're talking about, you know, what's the pulse of the public to vote for Trump or Biden. This is a clip here of Leo Terrell. It was a little difficult to get this because it's from the Hannity show, and Hannity just won't shut up. But I think, get Hannity out of it.
Did he tell you about his martial arts quest and how he can bring a person down with 2 fingers?
I would like to see. I've heard Hannity talk about this. It's one thing to go up against the instructor that he's paying for the individual lessons. I'd like to see Hannity go out at the next BLM protest in New York and take somebody down with 2 fingers.
When he said that yesterday, he was taking a shot at the cops that they had to manhandle people because he had learned in his martial arts class, which we're hearing about the 4th millionth.
Yeah.
He had learned how to take anybody down with just 2 fingers.
Now, you're not a Seinfeld guy.
No.
You'd love Seinfeld. It's perfect. It's Jewish comedy, New York. You'd love Seinfeld. Well, everybody else, the rest of the country were into it. There was an episode of Seinfeld, you know, his friend Kramer across the hallway was the karate champion at his dojo in New York, and they were having a big tournament, and he invited Jerry and Elaine and the crew to watch him, you know, because he's the champion. And they go to the karate studio, and he was a 40-year-old grown man. He was in the karate studio in karate matches with 5- and 6-year-old kids, you know, and he beat every single one of them. I don't think Hannity would do so well on the streets of New York with his karate. With his two fingers would get broken, and then they toss him in a garbage can.
Sean is getting more insufferable each day. I just can't stand. I And yesterday, they were talking about that he interviewed the parents of the kids that were shot.
Oh, the one for the funeral he's going to pay for?
And it's all about him. It took him about 5 minutes before.
Did he?
Yeah, it was
Did he show the receipts did he show the receipts from the funeral home?
He said it was the most horrible thing that has happened to him.
I imagine Sean Hannity, since he can take a man down with 2 fingers as opposed to these cops, that he must not even have a security detail. Why would he need security?
I'm sure of that.
Well, so anyway, Leo Terrell, we lost track here. So Leo Terrell, well-known black militant liberal activist, he was on Hannity, and this is what he said.
This will be the first time in my life. This will be the first time in my life, Sean Hannity viewers, that I will be voting Republican. Right on your TV program. First time in my life.
For Donald Trump.
For Donald Trump.
Don't you wish you had that clip to show Leo Terrell back in California in the 60s?
I'm trying to give you a clue on how to get him on.
Well, don't give it away on the air too much. I heard. I'll do it. I'll do it again. Yeah.
He may not remember me, but he'll remember the Pine and the Pine Show, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was. I mean, we had some wild shows with Leo. If
back in the Joe Pine days, if you would have told Leo Terrell that in the future he would be voting to re-elect a Republican president, he would have thought you were out of your freaking mind.
He would have had a stroke.
He wouldn't have believed you. He'd laugh at you. But Steve, that's why they have Black Lives Matter burning down the country, because they've lost so many loyal black Democrat voters to Trump. Like Leo Terrell.
It remains to be, well, a lot of the black intelligentsia has emerged. I mean, I understand this film that's on UncleTom.com. Who's the
UncleTom.com.
Elder? What's
Larry Elder?
Produced this film. They say it is spectacular.
Are you sure you've got that website right? UncleTom.com? Let me look at it. UncleTom.com. Let's see what comes up. An oral history of the American black conservative. Oh.
And they say it's supposed to be spectacular.
It says here that Uncle Tom ranks #1 most popular documentary on the Internet Movie Database.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should watch that. You should have your black children watch that.
Yeah. Folks on a crossroads.
Oh, I was telling people earlier in the show, Steve, I picked up my Ford Explorer and my daughter's car, we're talking at Champaign Automotive last week.
See Eddie up there?
Well, yeah, Eddie Jr. Yeah, and Steve, let me tell you, this car, 17 years old, 180,000 miles, drives like it did when I left, got it new. I mean, it's like a brand new car off the showroom floor.
They my Toyota, and it just runs like a dream.
Oh, man, and let me tell you, this car, I can't tell you how many times I almost called those We Buy Junk Car people, or called the local junkyard to come and get this Explorer, because the car has not been driven in 2 or 3 years. And I took it over to Champaign Auto in Boca. I got it back. I had them inspect it from bumper to bumper, because I knew it had a leaky coolant system. That's why I wasn't driving it. I could drive it for a few minutes and then it had no coolant in it. So I knew it needed a new radiator and brakes, right? It needed brakes and a new radiator. I knew that, but I said, can you check everything on the car just in case, because it's old, it hasn't been driven. Nothing else wrong with it. Nothing else wrong. They could have told me it needed everything under the sun, and I would have believed them. Champaign Automotive Repair will never do a repair on your vehicle that it does not need, and that's just something that's Other than Champagne Automotive, I don't know any other auto repair shop that proudly says that. They do great work. And they also, Steve, get this. My daughter, the motor in my daughter's window went out, broke, that makes it go up and down. I took it over to Champagne Automotive Repair. They repaired it, and I got a price from the dealer on repairing it, half the price. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So they're honest. Their prices are very, very good. Give them a call, 561-245-8101. Champagne Automotive Repair, they're in Boca, listed at SteveKaneShow.com, 561-245-8101. All right, let's finish up the break, and then we'll be right back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve here with us. Of course, don't go anywhere.
This is Lori Kane, and I'm going to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost.
It's pretty funny.
Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities. I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because
Good morning,
Dental
Debbie.
has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633.
No, nothing about that.
922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65.
Would you subscribe?
$70 savings per tire.
No, if you subscribe today, it didn't.
And on the road, free mounting and balancing, and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too.
Today's just the
starting
first
at
day
just
with that.
$30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive.
If you unsubscribe and subscribe, maybe it doesn't work because you're not a new subscriber. You know what I mean?
977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Tell me what, Kathy?
Online, Friendly Tire.
Oh no, I just started that today. It just started today.
Show on iHeartRadio.
Just added that.
WWNN.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane here, of course, with us. Okay, so Chris Wallace and Trump, this exchange they had over the coronavirus numbers was just great stuff. Let me pull this up here. Here they go. This is Trump with Chris Wallace, and Chris Wallace is taking joy in the number of positive coronavirus tests.
With the surge of the coronavirus across the country in recent months, you still talk about it as, quote, burning embers. But I want to put up a chart that shows where we are with the illness over the last 4 months. As you can see, we hit a peak here in April, 36,000 cases a day.
Yeah, cases.
Then it went down, and now since June, it has gone up, more than double. One day this week, 75,000 new cases, more than double.
Chris, that's because we have great testing, because we have the best testing in the world. If we didn't test, you wouldn't be able to show that chart. If we tested half as much, those numbers would be down.
But this isn't burning embers, sir. This is a forest fire.
But I don't say. I say flames. We'll put out the flames, and we'll put out, in some cases, just burning embers. We also have burning embers. We have embers, and we do have flames. Florida became more flame-like, but it's going to be under control. And it's not just this country, it's many countries. We don't talk about it in the news. They don't talk about Mexico and Brazil and still parts of Europe, which actually got hit sooner than us, so it's a little ahead of us in that sense. But you take a look, why don't they talk about Mexico, which is not helping us? And all I can say is, thank God I built most of the wall, because if I didn't have the wall up, we would have a much bigger problem with Mexico.
But sir, we have the 7th highest mortality rate in the world. Our mortality rate is higher than Brazil, It's higher than Russia and the...
I like how Chris Wallace believes Russian numbers, but he doesn't believe, the president of the United States, but he believes Putin. He sounds like, is he one of those Putin puppets, Chris Wallace?
Yeah.
He goes on, though.
European Union has us on a travel ban.
Yeah, I think what we'll do, we have them on a travel ban too, Chris.
He didn't think about that.
Oh, great.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I closed them off. If you remember, I was the one that did the European Union very early. But when you talk about mortality rates, I think it's the opposite. I think we have one of the lowest mortality
It's not
rates
true,
in the
sir.
world.
We
we're going to take a look.
we had 900 deaths on a single day.
We will take a look.
This week.
Ready?
You can check it out.
Please get me the mortality rate.
Yeah.
Kaylee's right here. I heard we have one of the lowest, maybe the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world. You have the numbers, please? Because I heard we had the best mortality rate.
He speaks of some of the countries, as Dr. Burks points out.
See, this is the part you were talking about, Steve.
Low mortality rate. I hope you show the scenario because it shows what fake news is all about. Okay,
I don't think I'm fake news, but we'll put our stats
You
on.
said we had the worst mortality rate in the world.
I
and we
said
have
you
the
had
best.
the stats. All right, it's a little complicated, but bear with us. We went with...
Okay, now this is the part you're talking about, Steve. This is where he's getting his clock cleaned by Trump because McEnany's giving him the numbers. And then if you listen carefully here, he cuts away. He says, we'll put in our numbers, which means the numbers that back him up. You'll hear the edit with a voiceover with Chris Wallace. He went in and edited in to make his point without Trump there later. Listen.
We'll put our stats
You
on.
said we had the worst mortality rate in the world.
I said you had the stats. All right, it's a little complicated, but bear with us. We went with...
It's complicated for you stupid Trump people out there.
We went with numbers from Johns Hopkins University, which...
Okay, so he didn't use Trump's numbers. He edited out Trump and put in what he wanted people to see. That's fake news.
Right.
I wonder if Roger Ailes was alive and running Fox News, if that would have happened, what Chris Wallace did.
I've never seen anything like that. I mean, it was... And the other one was with Biden. He was quoting Biden out of
The defunding of the police. And then what he edited in with Biden was Biden doesn't want to defund the police. He wants to put money into social workers, which is defunding the police.
He wants to divert the funds.
Yeah, divert.
Yeah.
He didn't. Yes, divert. So that's not defunding. Diverting is not defunding. But this thing here that Chris Wallace did in that clip, he was getting his clock cleaned by Trump. McEnany handed Trump the numbers, and then he edits. Then he has an edit and puts in, we chose to use the John Hopkins numbers that show that I, Chris Wallace, are right. That is fake news. That's propaganda, and it's wrong. He should apologize to the viewers for that.
Well, he's going to keep his mouth shut because he's hoping to get away with it.
The problem is Hannity can't talk about it, even if he picked up on it, because it's Fox News.
And nobody in Fox to talk about it.
Well, hopefully Rush Limbaugh will today.
Russia's not going to be on this week.
He's off. Oh, that's too bad.
I play Friday.
Well, maybe they can have you and I fill in today, and we'll do it. We'll do it.
I don't want to, for someone knows, you realize with 105 days left in the election, we could be, I don't want to be an alarmist, but if this thing goes wrong and goes south somehow, we could be within 105 days of losing our country, the United States of America as we know it, forever.
Well, I know we're not supposed to be overconfident on the radio because people say you'll depress the vote, but when we're in a country where Leo Terrell is voting for Trump, I think Trump's doing all right.
That's the good news. The bad
Steve
news is my sister.
Steve
Because
Kane Show.
I have a feeling there are a lot of brain dead. Oh, I don't want to
Steve Kane Show.
call my sister brain dead because she's anything but that. But we have some ultra-liberals, a lot of ultra-liberals out there that have not heard the story. They don't know what's going on. They think that the thugs and the arsonists and the people who are burning down our cities are demonstrators.
But you know those Trump boat parades that they keep having all over the place here in Florida. You know there was one in New York over the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's not in the news. Yeah, listen to this. Is I know it's not even on TV. There was a Trump boat parade in New York. Dozens of listen to this. This is at the Gateway Pundit. Dozens of boaters took to Manhattan's Hudson River Sunday to show their support for President Trump. And you look at this, and it's just a huge parade of boats with Trump flags going down the Hudson River. I mean, does anyone have a parade going for it? Trump has all these spontaneous boat parades going on, even in New York City now. That's amazing.
But the bad thing, again, I don't want to be a doom and gloomer.
Yeah.
But the bad news is, and from a couple things Trump said over the weekend, he really doesn't expect, between now and the election, that he's going to be able to have any rallies. The old-fashioned track.
Well, they're outlawing them, and he went through it with Chris Wallace, and all these, the Democrats, like in Michigan, are banning political rallies. So we can't have campaign rallies in any of the swing states.
And it's risky because if he has one, then there's an outbreak of the virus.
It didn't happen after the Tulsa rally. I know they keep saying that this person has it. Yeah, a month later, they didn't get it at the rally.
Yeah, well, the stakes are so large, I cannot help but be nervous.
You know, Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, just announced yesterday that not only did he have coronavirus, he recovered from it, he and his wife, and he's 80 years old. So that's amazing. I mean, he's in a high-risk group, Jack Nicklaus, and he recovered, and he's doing well. All right, let's take a call. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning. This is a little off the subject. I think Chris Wallace is an idiot myself. I saw that interview. But could I be a little off the subject about fudging the numbers of the coronavirus in South Florida?
Go ahead.
That's very disturbing. Can I speak about that?
Go. Speak.
You're doing it right now.
My son's coworker he and his wife went to get tested in one of these drive-throughs. Well, the attendant took all the information, paperwork, and they just, after a while, 45 minutes, didn't want to wait. How about after 2 or 3 days, they get in the mail that they tested positive for the coronavirus?
Well, wait a minute. I'm confused. You said that they didn't want to wait, that they didn't get tested. They didn't get tested?
Didn't get tested. They didn't want to wait. So
they didn't get tested. They filled out the paperwork, got tired of waiting, and left from the public testing site, and they got a notice that they have it?
What a pleasure with the numbers.
You think?
That isn't the worst part. That isn't the worst part. I was relating this to a friend. She said her son-in-law, 6 of his employees, went to get tested, didn't want to wait on the line after the girl took the information, paperwork. They all got letters that they tested positive.
Oh my goodness.
Believe this?
No, I can. Yeah, I do believe you.
It's in Broward. Now, it could be happening in Palm Beach County. Today, I'm going to call Caruso's office, Scott's office, DeSantis' office, and tell them these findings. They're fudging the numbers. That's why it looks like...
It sounds like everyone's a positive, even people that aren't taking the test at the public places. Thanks for the call. Well, let me tell you, that's why you want to go to any lab test now of Boca or of Coral Springs for your test. I've been tested 3 times. Steve and his son got tested with me the last time I went over there. Negative every time. No fudging of the numbers over there, Steve. That's scary. You know, and I'll tell you something. You know what's scary about that? When you go to those public places and they do... I believe that lady. I've heard stories like that. You get put in the system, you know, as having it. And they haven't even been tested. So if you have one of those positives or false positives, head on over to any lab test now of Boca or of Coral Springs get tested by them on the spot and get the real result. And that's some. Oh, look who we have on the line, Steve. We have Richard Pearl from Simply Natural.
The man who knows immune systems like the back of his hand, and the man who has advice for any Steve Kane listener that wants to drop by and see him at Simply Natural. Richard, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm scratching my head. I was listening to the portion of your show just now, and I've heard the same thing. I don't know if this is in, is it just, what I heard was just current, but it's about people who stand in line and never take the test and get the positive results. If this is the easiest thing. If you know you never took the test, then they should go to the news.
Yeah.
And go file a lawsuit. Collectively have a class action, because that's the easiest way. If you know you didn't take the test and you have a positive result, that's clearly easy to prove. About this?
Well, I don't know, Richard Pearl, because if they're fudging that means that they wrote down that they took the test, and how do you prove that?
At the time, there must be a simple way, but if people physically got in front of a camera and said, none of us took the test.
Oh, great, great. Did you get the 15-minute test?
That would be interesting at the very least, because the problem is we all...
Oh, hold on. Let me get you on after the break.
All of it may be true, but if nobody's willing to get in front of a camera, then it doesn't really... Like the tree fell in the forest, everyone knows the tree fell, but no one knows which one. Something, and I really want people to get in front of the camera if that's the case, or go on publicly record, say my name is such and such. But separate of that, everyone's talking about the vaccine. If I hear Maria Martirolma one more time talk about, we just have to wait for the vaccine, I'm going to vomit everywhere, and even if I have no food myself. This is ridiculous. These vaccines that are being created, they don't know how long antibodies from the shots will last, or even if they're going to be effective, whether it's going to be a few months or less even. And none of the manufacturers, and this is what I talked about on Saturday, none of the manufacturers are focused on innate T cells. These are inborn T cells, a type of immune cell. And there's no metrics. So what they're finding in some of the research now is that the antibodies aren't being...
Unblock all the trolls, Let's just turn the chat over to the trolls.
All these tests that people are complaining about. They should be looking at the T cells. This is stupid. This is so simple. People, stop running around like with your heads cut off. Come to a health food store, particularly a good one.
Yeah, Simply Natural. That's the good one. I got to tell you, Simply Natural and Richard Pearl, you have, we've known you for about 20 years, Steve and I. We go way back. You do good work. Your store has a great reputation. We're glad to have you with us. And, Simply Natural is open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9, located in Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the west side of University. And you can call the store during their operating hours. What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed that one up. Simply Natural, live radio. Simply Natural is located just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University Drive. My apologies. The number over there, 954-741-4045. 954-741-4045. And don't forget Richard Pearl's radio show, Pearls of Health, on our radio station, Wednesday at 11 a.m. All right, Richard Pearl? Yeah. Yes.
I have a strong immune system. I take supplements. That should make everybody positive. Maybe.
That's right. All right, Richard Pearl. We'll talk tomorrow. All right. Good morning. You're on the radio. Good morning. Hey, Jonah.
Good morning. Hey, good morning. Hey, Brian. Yeah, that lady's call just a few seconds ago, that's one of the main reasons why I went to Minneapolis now in Mocha, is because I wanted an accurate test. I didn't want to be misled, you know what I'm saying? And I got over there, and it was Saturday morning, it was 9:30, and they were quite busy. I was kind of surprised. I thought, okay, this might take a little bit longer than I thought, but they were still able to get me in and out, like in less than 20 minutes, and with the results.
That's amazing. So you walked out with your negative result, I hope. You weren't positive corona, were you?
I was negative on both, and the reason I got it is because I have to travel home to see my soldier who's coming in town from Fort Bragg. She finally got back from Afghanistan. She was on quarantine. We're probably going to get to see her, and I want to make sure I'm not going to pass anything on to her or my grandson that I'm dying to see.
Or the Army. Oh, your daughter's stationed at Fort Bragg? Should they change the name of Fort Bragg since it was named after a Confederate general?
Absolutely not.
I did not know Fort Bragg was... I did not know Fort Bragg was named after a Confederate general until, I think, 2 weeks ago.
I never even that's something that the typical liberals and, they want to change everything. They want to change the narrative of everything to meet their agenda.
Yeah.
Mr. Chris Wallace, asking the ridiculous questions to the president. When you played that's the sole reason why I don't watch Fox News or any of those cable networks anymore, because it just infuriates.
Well, where do you get your news then, other than us?
Honestly, a lot of times, a lot of stuff that your wife posts on.
Yeah.
From the internet.
Mm-hmm.
One American News on the internet.
The internet?
Pop it up in the morning, and I live stream you on my TV and stuff, and I look at One American News.
Yeah.
The Drudge and the rest of those sites, they have too much going on.
Drudge is gone. It used to be, but now it's mainstream liberal news.
That's something that, they sent the feds into Portland, and they're breaking up all the occupiers, and I could hear, and those occupiers were recording it on the phone. You're like, why are you doing this? Who are you? You're violating our rights.
Yeah.
I was just laughing my butt off. I thought that was great. I think that Trump's doing that.
You know what's really interesting about the Black Lives Matter people in Portland? This is very interesting. What I don't see among the Black Lives Matter protesters in Portland?
Black.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they're white people.
They need Trump needs to crack down on these organizations that run like in the non-for-profit platforms.
Well, it shows you two things. It shows you what a phony thing it is, but it also, how condescending, how racist is this, that these liberal whites have to be offended for the poor black people that aren't out there. You know what I mean? It's...
Saying liberalism equals hypocrisy. That's the bottom line. Everything liberalism is hypocrisy.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate you heading over to Any Lab Test Now of Boca. Sounds like they took good care of you. All right, take care. Yeah, they're good over there. My wife and daughter go over there all the time for regular testing, because if you go to your doctor, sometimes you gotta get routine lab work at your doctor. It's like a half-day affair to go over to your doctor, right? They're never on time and everything. You go to Any Lab Test Now at Boca, Coral Springs, they do everything. Very low prices, in and out, just a few minutes like that. Yeah, so, yeah, Steve, I think a lot of what your outlook is, how your sister has this strange outlook because she watches MSNBC. When you watch Fox News during the day, it changes when you get to Tucker and beyond. Oh, I wonder, is Tucker going to be back from his fishing vacation last week?
According to what he said when he left.
I hope he shows a lot of pictures of all the trout he caught last week.
I hope he caught some fish.
You know what I think? I think, Fox News' whole racket, when one of their hosts is under fire, they always go on vacation. Remember Judge Janine took a planned vacation. I was telling you how Rachel Maddow goes trout fishing on the weekends in Connecticut or something, wherever people go trout fishing. I've heard her talk about it. And I'm wondering if him announcing he was going trout fishing was kind of like a signal, like I'm not really going on vacation.
The trout fishing is, especially now,
it's a cover story.
Rachel Maddow is a trout fisher too.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when they get suspended for a week.
Yeah.
They keep it low profile.
That's the cover story.
Trout fish.
Yeah, Judge Janine went trout fishing, right? I can't imagine that one.
in back of the studio.
In New York City? I didn't think people went trout fishing anymore. You know, I really don't. You know, there's a there's have you heard this thing about Roger Stone? Okay, let me play the clip for you. Okay, and just
Black.
they're accusing him of saying Negro.
Well, don't waste our time with that because, first of all, Negro is an acceptable word.
Yes, it's not the N-word.
If you want to describe a race, the white race is Caucasian. If you want to...
Well, let me play the clip, Steve. I want to play because Roger Stone says he didn't say it, and I pulled up the clip and I've turned the volume up as loud as you can do it without distortion, and listen to Roger Stone. I don't think Roger Stone said it. You know, listen.
October 26, 2017. So in other words, see, guess what? Lied to Congress.
Okay, now this is Roger Stone talking, and then you'll hear the interviewer.
Material matter. My TV charge.
I don't know. I'd love to see it.
That's my argument.
No. I do believe that certain people are treated differently in the federal...
Now here it comes. You'll hear. This is the part where they claim he said Negro.
Justice system. I do absolutely believe that. But I also believe that your friendship and relationship and history with Donald Trump weighed more heavily than him just wanting to make sure that justice was done by a person in the justice system, that you were treated so unfairly. There are thousands of people treated unfairly daily. How your number just happened to come up in the lottery, I'm guessing more than just luck, Roger, right? I'm sorry, what was that?
That's it. You can't even hear what he said.
No, that's
And you know, they must really be afraid of Roger Stone right now. Now that he's been cleared by the president, they're trying to cancel him out of our culture because they're afraid he's going to be on the television circuit now.
Well, he is a good spokesman for Trump. I just hope it's all enough. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even understand what he. You know, I think you hear what you want to hear when he says that. He did not say it. I believe him. He's not a liar, and you can't even make out what he's saying. And now, and unfortunately, the story is out there all over the place. The audio is not, and now you know why. Because it's unintelligible. You can't. All right, we'll take our last break of the day. It's Monday. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Steve here with us. Of course, my name is Brian. We'll take our break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Suffering from decreasing energy, poor libido, weight gain, a foggy mind, an unsatisfactory sex life, or any of the symptoms of the aging process? Good news, folks. These processes are completely reversible. With his 20 years of experience in age management medicine, Dr. Matez can offer
Hello?
safe, effective protocols.
Yeah, it's breaking up. Can you call us back?
The Boca Raton Center for Age Management offers hormone...
Yeah, you're breaking up pretty bad.
therapies, peptide therapies, and a host of other cutting-edge modalities that rejuvenate the human body and give you back the vigor of youth. If you want to get back to feeling good, looking good, and functioning well, call Dr. Matez at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490. Or visit their website at brc4am.com. That's brc4am.com.
Steve Kane Show.
For the Boca Raton Center
That's
for
good.
Age
Gotcha.
Management.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt really soft in the store, but when you go to use it, it's not very absorbent? It's basically a towel that's leaving you out to dry. Mike Lindell, Trump supporter and inventor of My Pillow, has developed a towel.
Yeah, that thing with Trump when someone subscribes, today's the first day of that. So if you didn't get it in the past, that's why.
2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. They come in a variety of colors, and right now, when you buy one set, you get another set free. But you gotta use the promo code KANE Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get the buy one, get one free on the 6-piece set off MyPillow towels, just go to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special, and enter the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Or call them directly, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. That's MyPillow.com, promo code KANE. Kane.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, we are back. You with us, Steve? Oh, it's time to check in with William Youngerman with the Gold Report.
My favorite time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good. Gold's doing great also. Precious metals up nicely again today after closing higher on Friday. Gold closing out the week at $1,810.30. Silver was up to $19.33. Platinum closed out last week at $831. And palladium closed out the week at $1,969. This morning we got gold up another $8, $1,818.30. Silver up 27 cents at $19.60 the ounce. Platinum up $14 at $845, and palladium hitting $2,000 now, up $31 this morning. Wow. That's pretty much where we're starting the week out. Looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Still looking to get in. Well, so 1,800 for gold is becoming a strong support area. Anything near the $1,800 number has been very strongly supported. Silver finding good support around $19. So at this point, I'm not anticipating a lot of pullback in these markets. We're going up just on a nice step-by-step level with no runaway kind of numbers, and that gives us the opportunity to build on each of these new highs as we hit them. And so you just got to step up to the plate, especially if you don't have any of the precious metals in your portfolio. It's almost a necessary insurance at this point.
And even platinum is moving.
Platinum is moving, yes. Yep.
I'm excited to hear. Well, you heard it, folks. William Youngerman, the best.
Yeah, and you can give William Youngerman a call. His number toll-free, 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com. And the address for his store in Boca is 150 East Palmetto Park Road, which is just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building. All right, William Youngerman, we will talk tomorrow. Okay, take care. This is, there's all these stories that they're really not covering too much in the news. You probably have seen this on Fox. Did you see the story of the woman who was painting over the Black Lives Matter graffiti in the street in front of Trump Tower? Did you see this video, Steve? She did it twice. Yeah.
What happened to her?
Well, she's in a lot of... Well, there's a reason why you haven't seen it. And the reason is she's a black woman. Yeah, her name is Bevelyn Beatty. She's 29-year-old African-American lady. And this is in the New York Post, okay? I know. It's an amazing, amazing story. The black woman busted, that means arrested, for dumping paint on the Black Lives Matter mural outside Trump Tower, live streamed the entire event, and was at it again just hours later in Harlem and Brooklyn. See, no bail goes for conservatives too, I guess. Bevelyn Beatty, age 29, posted videos on her Facebook page showing her smearing paint outside the Midtown skyscraper and on Black Lives Matter murals in Harlem and on Fulton Street later in the night. Then she gloated about it from home on yet another video. She says, "We did an all-nighter," she said. She's first seen on video in Manhattan around 3 p.m. Saturday going through more than a dozen cans of paint in the back of a van while two other women assist her as a cop looks on and questions her but does nothing to intervene. And the police took her away. Later they took her away. But no bail, so she got out immediately and came back and did it again. But, this is something, and all the media were there, and you're not seeing it on television, because she's a black woman. And they don't want to see that there's a black woman out there that... She had a shirt that says Jesus Matters when she did it. They don't want a video showing a young 20-something black woman putting paint over Black Lives Matter in front of Trump Tower.
He's a Kanye voter.
Did you see Kanye over the weekend?
I didn't see. I saw you in the picture. Tell me about it.
Oh my god. Oh my. Well, first off, he was wearing a bulletproof vest on the outside of his clothing. And he got really he angered people, but first he got a little weird. Hold on, I got a couple clips from that. Let's see. Okay, here's one. He's talking about his parents and his child in this clip. This is the Kanye campaign rally.
My mom saved my life. My dad wanted to abort me.
Hear that? He said his dad wanted to abort me, he says.
My mom saved my life. It would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
Okay, so yeah, so he said his yeah, but then he said something about his own child. Listen. See, he's crying at this point. He starts crying when he says his dad wanted to abort him. They're yelling, "We love you, Kanye," and then he says something about his own child. Okay, that's Kanye. He's yelling, "I almost killed my daughter." So people are speculating, was he talking about aborting his child? At the end, it's very... He said, "I almost killed my daughter," he said. "My dad wanted to abort me, and I almost killed my daughter." And they're very, and he had this emotional breakdown. And then he angered the crowd, or at least some of them. He started talking about Harriet Tubman.
So that's a Stephen move. When Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for all the white people.
Y'all, we leaving right now.
Okay, that lady was done when he badmouthed Harriet Tubman. That was the end of her. She was out of there. But let me play that again. Yeah, it was a very strange event.
This is going to be some 105 days.
I wonder if is Kanye going to be in the debate with Trump and Biden?
No.
If he went up there, he'd be kind of like Ross. If Kanye went into the debate with Biden and Trump and they did like Perot and had a three-way debate, I wouldn't be surprised if Kanye was wearing a MAGA hat.
Surprised if we see him in a MAGA hat before it's all over.
The thing with Kanye, Kanye's obviously has mental health issues.
Person of deep faith.
Now, when you see the video you haven't seen the video of the rally. Yeah, it was really sad. He was bawling. He had an emotional breakdown. It's really.
So with the spirit, what do you know about that?
He wasn't in church. It wasn't a church rally. It was a campaign rally.
You think you have to be in church to be filled with the spirit?
Oh, you think that's what that was? Yeah.
What it was, an emotional
Steve Kane Show.
Caused by the spirit.
Okay. All right. Good morning. You're on the radio.
That interview with Chris Wallace is embarrassing.
Also, you agree with us that Trump cleaned Chris Wallace's clock?
No, the other way around.
Oh, tell us that part.
He's bragging about how he passed the cognitive test.
Yes, he did.
Which is more than we can say for Biden.
He didn't. You guys watched that interview and you feel bad?
I've seen it twice. I watched it live, and then I went through it again this morning to get the audio bites I played. I've seen it twice. Now, this is an interesting thing because it's been widely reported that the president passed the cognitive test. You have information that he did not, that he failed the cognitive test that was given by his physician?
Well, the thing is, he's telling Chris Wallace that he doesn't think Chris Wallace would have a problem.
Well, I played that earlier, and he said one of the last questions, Chris Wallace, it came up, I played it earlier, and we don't have time to play it now because there's only 2 minutes left in the show, but he said the last 5 questions were tough. Chris Wallace said, I've seen the test. Which question is tough? Chris Wallace had studied and prepared for the test, including counting backwards from 100 by factor of 7. So he was, you don't study for the cognitive test. They hit it with you on the spot. Count backwards from 7. Count backwards from 7 now. Using... Keep going. Keep going. Oh, you just failed the cognitive test, Al. He just failed the cognitive test. He can't do it. Oh my! Do we really have to give him a cognitive test?
I'm really surprised about it.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he did not pass. He just failed. But you know that thing. Chris Wallace had studied the test and wanted Trump to ask him the questions that you don't study for the cognitive test. It's not like a math test.
Well, a lot of these memories.
Yeah, Chris Wallace did what Al did, but Al only studied back into the 50s. He couldn't get before that. After the 50s, he was done. Anyway. All right, listen, we're all out of time. So we'll be back tomorrow, guys. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Has the construction crew arrived this morning to start work on the studio at your house?
Parked out front.
They're parked out front. Okay. So they can't start till at 9 o'clock. All right. All right, Steve, take care. You have a good day, and we will see you all tomorrow.
6.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Oh, man. Al the John. I know. He's a trip, isn't he? He is definitely a trip. Is everyone in here subscribed? Is there anyone who's not subscribed? Yeah, so I was talking earlier. I'll show you guys on YouTube another time. I can't do it. It's in my car. So I got my old 17-year-old car back, and it doesn't have Bluetooth. But it's the car's so old it has a cassette deck in it. And I didn't even know these existed. My daughter told me about it, so I got it. There is a, I got an adapter. It's like a cassette. It looks like a cassette tape. It's an adapter you put in the cassette tape of the radio, and it turns your old cassette deck car stereo, you get Bluetooth on it. So now I've got Bluetooth on my cassette deck 03 Explorer, which I didn't even think I heard of Bluetooth when that car was new. I'll have to show it on YouTube. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you can add it, but why? I just got the cassette. It cost $20. I got it on Amazon. All right, guys, listen. Take care. I got to run. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and click the notification bell. All right, because I upload videos all the time, not just when I'm on the radio. So if you haven't clicked the notification bell, click that. All right, guys. In order to get on chat, you have to be subscribed. Do you really? I did not know that. Oh, you have the cassette deck Bluetooth? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I know. All right, guys, take care, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.